Okay, here we go. How do I do this? Okay, give me a sec here. Speaker.
I'm good. Someone said to get re-added.
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Yeah, what up?
Yeah, Poke needs help to get re-added to the call, because is there a way to like kick him out and re-add him?
I'll kick him out and re-add him. The reason Poke's having trouble is because Poke's using the web browser one. He's using the web browser. He didn't actually get Skype. He's using.
No, I got Skype.
Oh, you did?
No,
We've been troubleshooting over here.
Okay, I kicked you from group, brother. Okay, I kicked you from group, Poke. Okay, this is a little scuffed. I've never used Skype before, so it's a little scuffed, boys. It's even more scuffed than usual. This is the Scuffed podcast. Things never go the way it needs to be. You know, I don't know if it's because I'm a man, or maybe I'm just immature. I don't know what it is, but. All right, I'm calling Poke. We'll see what we'll see if it. Poke, did it work?
Maybe. Hold on.
Mods, please be very strict this podcast. Guys, this might be a Scuffed podcast, but please have respect. How
do you launch the one I downloaded, Canute?
What?
Okay.
What did you say? Yeah.
I should have kept the music going. Okay.
Yeah, you probably should.
Okay.
You can turn it back on.
I think Richard's a little upset. He's thinking he should have got the breakfast first. He should have definitely got the breakfast first, and then he might actually still have time with with the Poke troubles we have going.
I've been eating too much.
Me too. All right, Poke. So you downloaded Skype, correct?
Yes.
Okay, and what are you on right now? If you haven't launched,
it won't open. It won't reopen. So I had to use the browser again.
Your Skype won't reopen.
Yeah, I'm downloading Windows 10 again.
Wait, what?
Wow.
You're downloading
Windows 10 version.
The entire Windows 10?
No, the Windows 10 version of it, because the other one doesn't launch.
I was gonna say that's longer than that's long. All right, well, should I just introduce everyone else, or how long do you think this is gonna take?
Just introduce everyone.
I'll wait as long as you want, because listen, you've waited on me many times. All of you have, actually, to be honest. Shit. Okay. Should we just go on with introductions?
Just do what you gotta do. Listen, I got plans tomorrow morning, so I'm not gonna be here all fucking night, okay? So
call me in a second.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, boys. No need for the hostility, okay? We need to keep it positive. Some people in here might be, new, might be old, but the new ones, it's a bad vibe to all of them.
Trainwrecks, if you don't get this shit on, we're going hard on the woman hating, okay? You better fucking get your shit going. Okay, I swear to God.
Hey, dude.
Get this fucking show on the road.
Okay, here we go.
Destiny were trash talking both Jenna and JCG while you did the intro here, so.
Oh my God.
Really?
We're prepped and prepared.
Okay, so let's go to introduce. On the left, we have staying at 6'2".
Oh my God.
Double rimmed black glasses, so you can see his game stats of W's across the stream twice as much. Dyrus. Welcome, Dyrus.
Are we really doing it this way?
We're really doing
It's very
okay.
Just go with it. Sitting below at 6'1", steroided out of his mind, 2 cycles in, we have Canute. In the top left corner, next to Dyrus, the World of Warcraft champion himself, Asmongold. Sitting in the middle bottom.
The way this is being done.
Some of you may know him as Super Seducer 1 or Super Seducer 2, but I know him as, babe, stay in that room, Richard. Welcome, Richard. In the top right corner next to JCG, we have Destiny. He's grumpy. I'd buy it.
Thanks.
No problem. Next, we have JCG sitting there, the Raj Royale winner. Welcome, JCG.
2 times.
2 times. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then at the bottom right, I'm going to White Knight. If you talk shit, the 5-letter word starts with a J, ends with an A, Jenna. I'm trying, okay? I'm trying here. Okay, just...
Train, I can handle them talking shit, you're fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure everything's cool, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm known as the shit talker, but when it comes to the, the friends in the circle, I got you.
Thank you.
Okay, so welcome everybody. Poke's gonna come back in a little bit. Yeah, welcome. How you doing, Asmongold? Has everyone met in here? Asmon, Richard, Asmon?
What's up, dude?
Have you guys met? Everyone's met? Okay, awesome. Jenna, Richard, Jenna, JCG, Richard, JCG. Everyone else knows each other. Dyrus, Canute, Dyrus. Awesome. So there are some great topics that are, you know, basically what we do here is we just talk about some fun stuff to anyone new in the chat. We just talk about everything.
I fixed it.
Oh, you did? Congratulations, Poke.
Nice.
There he is.
Sitting there, my best friend on Twitch, Poke Lols. He's my best friend, by the way. Okay. Next to Asmongold. Asmongold's my best friend. But anyways. So what we do with this podcast, we just talk about everything and anything. Okay? It's everything. It's fun. We're going to go through it. You know, we'll bring Super Seducer up because I have some questions I think Canute wants to add into it. It's a great game. I love the game. And your voice, I'm just as pleased with it out of the game as I'm in the game. I know that sounds a little weird, but I have a girlfriend, don't worry. But yeah. Okay, you know what? Let's get off that. Anyways, so a lot of things have happened this week. I want Trihex to be here, but his internet's out right now, so we can't have him here at the moment. But some good things have happened. Some bad things have happened. You know, we have the hearing that happened. That's more political. We'll get to that a little later. We don't need to worry about that right now. Destiny will handle that section. Aside from that, we have the sections in IRL that have split. And, you know...
Wait, how about we do like the stuff relevant to Richard so that we don't have to keep him here for 20 hours first, right? Yeah.
Okay, do you want to do that?
Yeah, I think that would probably be the most considerate thing to do, yeah.
Well, I didn't want to make it like he's here, like, talking about this. I just want him to be part of the boys so he feels part of the circle of boys. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want it to be this thing where we, like, kind of put him into a place where we ask him questions. I wanted this to be a circle of boys, the podcast. We just talk about random stuff together. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if Richard wants to hang out for 6 hours, then you can do that.
Well, no, it's not 6 hours. It's like 2 hours, 1 hour, 3 hours, you know? And if he wants to leave, he can leave. He can excuse himself at any time, you know? I'm not sure, you know, Richard, where are you from? Are you English? Are you Australian? Where's the accent? I'm American, so I can't say stuff.
English.
Oh, you're English. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah. So, yeah, see, that's amazing. There we go. We got a fact there. But anyways, I guess IRL splitting, I guess not everyone can put their input on that. What's a good topic, Destiny, or Poke, or that we've talked about that would be a good topic to kind of include everyone in? I don't think IRL splitting is a good topic. We could talk about the divorce rates decreasing from 60% to 40%, but Trihex really wanted to talk about that, so that wouldn't.
That's good. That's a good thing. Well, I mean, like, so here's what it is. So we have everybody on here has been on here before, I think, except for Dyrus and Richard. So, man, like, you've made Super Seducer. That's your game. Where did the idea come from? I think that a lot of us have seen it. We've all seen clips. We love it. Where did that idea come from, man?
Well, my background is as a dating coach, and I was approached by a US publisher that doesn't want anything to do with Super Seducer now. They don't want their name linked to it because it's kind of dodgy for their business, but it's a US publisher of some other games, and they came to me with the idea and pitched it, and then we made one kind of level of the first game as a trial. Then we got feedback and kind of went back and forth. The first game took about probably 2 years from the first idea to release.
Wow.
And yeah, that's how it happened. I mean, I'm always open to ideas and interesting things, and when I heard the idea of a game, it was really interesting.
Well, it's really unique, you know, like it's almost like, to me, I don't know, this is a little bit weird, right? But it's almost like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, where it's like you see the person playing it and you think, like, as you're watching, it's like, it's a very good game to watch. It's like you think, well, I would pick this, and then they pick that, and then you're like, okay, what's this going to happen? So, and I looked at your Twitter before we started, and now you're working on Super Seducer 3, is that right?
Yeah, we're not working on it yet. We're just thinking about it, and we want to do something very different. I think everyone would expect.
VR,
Super VR level.
Yes!
We could definitely do a VR level.
Wow.
I don't know
Put
about
me in the credits. Put me in the credits.
Potential if it's all VR, but
I'll
doing a
help write
VR
it.
level would be a good idea. But we were actually thinking of doing something more like open world, where you're like in an area and you can. Just anything.
Spill it. You buy
in a
internet.
limited area.
Saved.
Okay, that was a little bit laggy. I think that your Skype cut out for a second. So more open-ended rather than just kind of having pre-constructed scenarios. It's much more open-ended. So you were like a legitimate dating coach. Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's my job. Yeah.
That's our jobs too, as streamers.
All right. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Very cool. No, that's actually very cool. I mean, I've actually, I'm not sure how good this is. I didn't really pay attention to what the stats actually mean, but on every level, I actually got Casanova. I'm actually a Casanova. I don't know. That sounds good. It sounds good to me.
That's like the second one. Top one is Super Seducer, but Casanova is good.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I'm telling you, I don't know what it is. I have the eye. I just I have the eye. I have the mind.
What's the bottom one?
Forever Alone or Wanker or
I've got that one.
So you said the publisher that you talked to and it originally like kind of came to you with this idea and they wanted you to help them with the idea. You and this publisher have diverged in interests, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to have anything to do with you. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, sure. So I can't say who they are, but they got a big console deal for their Steam game, and then the publisher of that console version was very worried about Super Seducer being associated. So on Steam it says that they're Red Dahlia. Basically, they still get like 15% from the first game of the money, and they gave some like high-level help, with me being the first game, but they didn't want their name attached to it. And actually, we got rejected from loads of different places, even people like Maximum Games, which is like an awful publisher that publishes anything.
Why do you think that they rejected it?
People didn't want anything to do with Super Seducer.
Well,
but why is that?
Do you think maybe it's because of like the sensitivity in today's age, where like it could be viewed? Because like there were certain scenarios where like I saw it as completely normal. I mean, like, I was born 1990, right? I mean, I feel like I was kind of the last generation. I really believe I was the last generation of like, thick skin, you kind of say it how it is. No one gets offended. No one dissects it or overanalyzes what you're actually, like all this stuff. Nowadays, you say one thing, for example, if I say, like my friend, he screams like a girl, it's dissected, analyzed, I'm a sexist, I'm an incel, et cetera, et cetera. And we're moving toward that. We're in that time, actually. So do you think it has anything to do with that, the sensitivity where maybe that game...
Yeah, of course.
So it has like misogynist undertones. That's probably what it was communicated to you. Is that right?
No, it was. I mean, anyone that didn't want to do business with me, it wasn't necessarily that they were offended. It was that they were very worried about
public
backlash. So we got a petition against the game, and there were all these big articles from people that didn't play the game. It got 26,000 signatures, the petition.
Wow.
And there were articles. Was a harassment simulator and encouraging rape and stuff. So I understand why they didn't want to be associated with it.
They knew that they were actors, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, what is that? Oh my God! Hold on, this is actually so embarrassingly presented. Let me just present the other side. Holy shit! I'm getting accolades. So the international conversation right now, revolving around things like the Me Too movement and all this stuff going on politically. Even one of our topic cities, the fucking Kavanaugh hearing, right? And then the idea that you have a game that centers around. So, Richard, I believe you're probably part of what you'd call like the PUA community, right?
The pickup artist.
Not really.
By the way, for
not really.
No, pickup artist.
Okay, so maybe not.
And
but that whole
piggybacks off the popularity of the PUA thing. But
gotcha.
yeah, I've never.
So the PUA thing is like really heavily rolled into like the MGTOW people, the MRA people, men's rights people. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Now, I'm not saying that everybody in PUA like is all like women hating people, but all of that stuff gets really hotly rolled together. And then internationally, we're having all these conversations on like women's harassments, blah 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 blah. So the optics of like having a game where the goal is to fuck girls, understandably, can produce public backlash.
But now, whether or not really the goal to fuck the girls, because if you look at all the levels, think about how many end in sex, and think about how many end in just a phone number.
Well, but you're getting the phone number to fuck them. Like the name of the game is Super Seducer, not Super.
What do we
friend,
talk?
right?
Destiny.
All right. So what's the word instead of
Destiny? Okay, so I think Destiny brings a.
That would have got the point across that it's about meeting women. So give me another word that's more family friendly aside from seduce, because we couldn't think of one.
Oh, sure. Well, like when I look at like PUA communities, like generally the draw is I'm a guy that can't really talk to girls well, and I wouldn't know how to be able to talk to girls because I don't want to grow up to be like a sad lonely virgin who like never has a girlfriend. Like that's generally the draw of like the PUA community. It's not usually like I want to know how to be friends with girls, right? Yeah.
Well, do you think that like that? Well, can I ask a question before I get into here? Destiny, do you think that's harmful? The idea of people that want to be part of, or at least like that want to consume pickup artist content. Do you think that's harmful?
It can be. That's a whole other conversation. I just wanted to present why there's public backlash.
Well, no,
it's not
and
just
I
like
understand
they see
that.
it. Yeah, okay.
And what you were saying basically, so you're presenting the argument in terms of optics, but do you feel like Super Seducer enforces any of those types of like negative behaviors towards women? Like from what I've seen, I don't really think so a lot.
Think so
but
either. It does not.
I think that obviously somebody can
perceive
interpret that.
Yeah.
No, we tried to do a few things. So I mean, first we tried to make the women very tough. So in all of my scenes, I'm always getting abused.
Well, that's great.
Stuff for the wrong. The other thing is that the right options are always morally correct and would be fine for women. So it's not manipulative or lying or tricking, because what works is not always what's right. So there are definitely techniques that are taught in the pickup artist realm that are morally wrong but that work. And we definitely don't teach that stuff.
Okay. JCG and Jenna, what do you guys think? You guys are the girls here. Do you like the game or not? Did the techniques work? Have you actually had a guy come up to you in real life and use a technique that you knew was from Super Seducer? Has it happened or not yet?
Well, I haven't gone outside yet, so so I don't know yet.
See a TwitchCon if that happens, because that's like our most social thing we'll probably do all year.
Yeah.
I can't say anyone's come up to me and tried to pick me up within like the past 2 months. So
you do find it, but you did find the game good and funny, right?
I thought it was hilarious. The first time I watched it, I was watching one of my friends played through, and it was not misogynistic in any way that I thought it would be. I don't know, anyone who's getting offended by that game is wounded by something.
That's true, but I think Destiny does bring up a good point.
Wait, careful. I'm not just presenting these as my arguments. I'm just saying if we're going to present why there might be a public backlash, you have to do due diligence, No,
and you're presenting the other argument, right? You're not necessarily devil's advocate, but you're presenting the other side just for the sake of the discussion. And I agree with you. And I even think that it's important to make sure that you rein those things in, because you do have people like these pickup artist people. Like we talked about this before on the show, how we've never had a female come on the show that hasn't had an extremely negative, dangerous interaction with some sort of a male before, right?
Yeah.
And to an extent, like that's substantial.
Yeah, and to Richard's credit, I think I played through 3 or 4 of the levels on stream. Like a lot of the advice or whatever being given, like seemed, I don't like to use the word like morally correct, but it was things like, telling the truth is generally the best policy and stuff like that. Like there weren't any like tricky tricks or whatever. Yeah. No mentions of like a cock carousel or any of the stuff you might hear in the POA community sometimes. Yeah. So yeah.
In the second game,
go ahead.
There's actually like towards the end of the levels, like the last few levels, there's a lot of levels that are like you play as a girl, and it's like
oh, that's cool.
Like actually, it's like a girl's perspective at like a club or some shit. Like I thought as a guy playing it, I didn't really enjoy it as much. But I understand
it sucks, doesn't it?
Yeah, I understand. You feel like, oh shit, this is probably how girls feel playing the game as a guy character or something. So
that's a good idea, dude. Honestly, like now that I think about it, are we gonna have maybe in Super Seducer 4 or 5, maybe a same-sex Super Seducer?
I will do anything that people want and that's commercially viable. I think that if I listen to
same
the press,
sex, that brings up a lot of different dynamics.
Yeah.
The only thing is
the normal person isn't used to that kind of dynamic.
Guys,
kind of scary too.
I can't wait for Super Seducer Battle Royale.
I'll tell you.
Okay, I have a question about the game, because I have never played it. Okay. I've only seen some streams with the game and haven't seen that much. But the scenes that I've seen, they have been, for me, very unrealistic, like places that I never would go. I would never approach girls in that way. Do you think that this is a realistic game, or is it just made for being a game?
Before Richard answers that, I mean, listen, Canute, I think you and where you're at, okay, the game is like created. So, okay, first of all, the game's for fun, and also it's like he's a dating coach, right? So it's for people who have never went out. So those are scenarios and scenes and sets that like I think would be, you know, preferred to go on for a date. You are on a different level, right? Where you are right now with women, you're very experienced. You just kind of dial on your phone, hey, you want to come over? Like, you know, so you can't really attribute where you are with, you know, the game. What the game?
It wasn't critique to the game because I haven't seen enough to say anything. It was more a question if he sees it like realistic
the
from
first
a
one is
dating
very
coach
realistic.
side.
The first one was just, you know, where do men and women meet in cold situations, and then we've got 2 date levels as well. So that was intended to be very realistic. The second one is we weren't thinking so much about the locations, but we still try and have some very practical situations and common situations. The Tinder level obviously is like the big thing now, and we've got the Tinder level, and then we've got some ridiculous things like chasing after the supermodel in the car, but I've seen that happen and work. Not with a supermodel, but talking to someone in traffic and then joining them in the car and driving and going for a date. So it's a lot of things happen, and you can be surprised when you're quite bold, and women are often impressed by that boldness, which makes it even more likely to work. It's like you're sitting there with 7 of your friends, the guy comes over really boldly and it's like, look, I just saw you and you look amazing, I wanted to say hi, and the friends are like, oh wow, you know, it's like that's confident, and so it's more likely to work.
The scenes,
like a scary situation, like a dark street or whatever.
The scenes that I really enjoyed were some of the scenes I enjoyed were with Mahmoud. He reminded me of my Persian uncle with some of his tactics and what he did, because you know I'm Persian, I'm Iranian, so like, you know, obviously it's not the same, but it's very, you know, culturally it's somewhat similar. So my uncle is, you know, he's just like that. He kind of says that kind of stuff. It was Mahmoud's hilarious. That character in the game is just amazing. Is he with you? Is he with you where you are right now?
Nah, no, he's in England.
Can I ask how the idea came up for the first time? When the option came up, my friend Mahmoud wants to come on your face. What made you guys put that in the game? What was the story behind that?
There has to be a story.
The way we did it is we came up with a script where it's like, you know, the right way through in this situation. And then we looked at each point and thought, like, what's the most ridiculous thing? And for that particular one, I think it's probably like the conversation between some guys that are really horrible, and that would be like, you know, what they say about one of their friends or something like that, and it was from that. So I'm actually, like, when I'm talking about sex and women, I'm not at all dirty, so I had to draw on, you know, experience of other people to get that.
So I'm not very familiar with Mahmoud. I'm assuming that he's just a very direct kind of guy. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, I thought so.
Cool. Well, to everyone in chat, before we move on to the next topic, to everyone in chat, I'm going to be doing since Richard was lovely enough to come by and hang out with the boys. Well, we're going to continue on. This sounds like I'm exiting it, but no, I'm not exiting. This is just, this is, okay, you know what? The point I'm trying to make here is I'm going to be giving out 10 copies, boys, 10 copies of Super Seducer 2 out to some of you random lucky people. I will be giving you guys a nice 10 random Super Seducer 2 copies will be going out. So just make sure to follow the stream, and at the end of the podcast, I will give 10 lucky whatever's Jesus Christ. I'll give 10 lucky viewers.
Hey, at the end of this stream, there's going to be 10 copies of Super Seducer 2 given out by Trainwreck. Is that what we're doing? Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
All right.
You should do the giveaway in marbles.
Holy shit.
Marble racing.
Thank you, Destiny. Yeah, 10 copies of Super Seducer 2, so you can all try it out. You can all or not all, 10 of you can try it out and see if you like it, see what's up. And, you know, I think it's a great game. I really enjoyed it. I played half of it so far, to be honest. I played the first one. It was great. And, you know, it's a fun game. It's a fun game. There's definitely some scenes that are definitely very fun. Anyways, to move on from there, let's see if Triax is... Oh, go ahead, Dyrus.
Is it only going to be subs or anyone in the stream?
Anyone in the stream.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, anyone in the stream. Subs will have a...
Dyrus, did you just sub so you could get a copy?
Oh, no. I would never.
Did you just subscribe thinking I was going to make it sub only?
Oh, no.
Okay, Dyrus. Okay.
Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Dyrus, have you played the game?
No, I have not.
You should stream it. It's fun.
Okay.
I've watched it being played, so...
Amazing.
Yeah, I have too.
That kind of lived the experience for me instead of playing it.
Oh, actually,
I think go ahead.
I have a question, Richard, from a marketing perspective. I don't know how much you were involved in this, but do you think that Asmongold said something earlier that the game is very watchable? Does that influence your guys' decisions to give out copies? Because one thing that would worry me with a game like this is that like people watch everything and then they have no reason to buy it because there's not much replayability.
Yeah, I think that's a worry, but we saw with the first game it was quite clear when we had the spikes in pre-orders or sales, and it was pretty good. I mean, the best thing is obviously a highly watched YouTube clips video. There's not like a let's play. It's just like the cool clips, and then it's more like a trailer. But we did see an increase when we had big guys on Twitch playing. So I'm sure we lose some just because it's not the kind of, it's you've seen it kind of thing. But no, it still generated sales.
Gotcha.
So the idea of like a game that works this way, where it's basically like a real life actors playing out situations, do you see yourself expanding that to anything beyond dating?
Yeah, we have the idea. It's
like what?
It's just a question of whether we want to do the work. But there's an idea. Like in Super Seducer 2, we have I think 12 or more hours of footage of real video. And if you compare to the game Late Shift, that's an interactive movie. They have 4 hours. And made it fully interactive. Like imagine a horror movie where, like Until Dawn, where some people could die or not.
Oh, great!
We could actually
do that. That was so good.
Live action. So we just need like a good script and all of the stuff, and then we could do it. I think it would be very good, and then we'd be able to release on console and not have all of the negative stuff.
That's an amazing idea. Until Dawn was a great game. My stream recently forced me to play it through. They twisted my arm for about 2 months, and I am very happy they did. Amazing game. If you incorporated the idea, and merged into one kind of just it'd be amazing. It'd be great.
Because the problem now is they're not that interactive. It's like you choose go there or don't go there, and you still end up in the same place with the same stuff happening. Yeah. So making it truly interactive, like you can go to that place or do that, talk to that person or not, and it has a real effect on the story. That's what I would like to do, because like the Telltale games, and they don't feel that interactive. You kind of always end up in the same place doing the same thing.
You're kind of in a theme park where you can go on like a roller coaster or a carousel, but there's no real free form.
Well,
is that kind of what you're saying?
There was actually one scene that I think there was in Super Seducer. I believe it's the first one. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the second. It's the one where you're sitting in the white area and you're with a blonde woman, and you have a choice.
And you can just leave.
You can ignore the girl in the car, and you can stay with the blonde woman and get her number and be successful, or you can leave the blonde woman and go with the car, and you end up on the couch and bed with the other woman.
I had pushback on that. They said, oh, you're wasting content. You could have like 2 different levels instead of one level that splits like that. And we actually plan to do the women's level from that perspective as well, where you go out and you can decide whether you want to find a guy for something casual or a guy for something serious, and you make the decision. I think that in Super Seducer 3, that's much more interesting, almost to make it all within one level, and you can just go in all different directions from that one place, and also so that all of those previous decisions would influence the future. So imagine you're in the bar, very beautiful woman, you go straight to her, you're rejected. But if you warm up the room, make some other friends, talk to her friends, then get introduced, maybe find out some information about her or something, and then, then you meet her, then you have a chance. So that's more what we'd like to do in future, just because it's interesting. And I think we could do like a cash grab where we just do Super Seducer 3 and film it on iPhones games and make it really cheap and simple, and it would still sell well. But no, I'd like to do something very different.
I like how you presented that in the same way that usually you would present like interviewing some sort of like a mafia kingpin and like trying to, you know, get in and talk to the people that are part of the mafia, and then finally you get to the kingpin, and if you just go to them directly, you're just going to get shot or something like that. It's really kind of funny that there's that same dichotomy.
It's definitely like that. Like if you're in a high-end club and you seem like someone that knows people and that is, you know, then you have more of a chance. Everyone's going to be more polite with you in the beginning, whereas if not, everyone's concerned about their reputation and things like that, so they wouldn't want to be seen talking to you. So yeah, there's all of these interesting social dynamics. So if we did something like that, it would be interesting to me, and I think it would be psychologically interesting, and we could have like 50 different endings for the players.
Well, going off of the psychology of it, do you feel like one of the reasons why the games are so successful is that they're successful among people that don't really get a lot of opportunities to interact with people in real life?
Yeah, I mean, the first game, everyone kind of laughed at the advice in it, but then we released the second one and we didn't put as much of a focus on the practical advice, and we've got some complaints from people saying, where's the, you know, why isn't it serious with the advice and stuff? So I think that the people that enjoyed the advice are less vocal, but there's definitely a percentage of guys that buy it for that. For
Jenna and JCG, you know, obviously earlier you said you don't go outside, but from past experiences, would you, you know, do you think maybe for some of the maybe awkward situations or experiences, or maybe if you were to assume that there are some that may arise, you know, at events, do you think this is a good game that, you know, maybe would make it less awkward for some of the shyer people in your streams that want to approach you, or maybe it could teach them some sort of, you know, some sort of etiquette before, you know, approaching instead of being more awkward? Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah.
If it's actually helpful or not.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah, you can go, Jenna, if you want first.
I personally haven't seen enough gameplay to actually give you a full thought out answer on that. I really only saw like maybe I think the first Super Seducer, and it wasn't enough gameplay because I was mainly being stupid in the chat. So okay.
You were one of the ones saying pick the wrong answer.
I don't know. It could be very good or it could be very bad. I'm not sure. From what I saw, not coming up to me and saying what was it? It was some absurd answer. Not using the very absurd answers, and training men who are very awkward to not use them.
The right answers.
Great.
Yes. So the right answers are good then, yes?
The right answers are good from what I saw.
Okay, cool. JCG?
Jay, what about you? Please answer.
Know what? Okay, Mom. I actually really like all of the choices, and on top of that, I think if someone were to actually try one of those on me, like, because I've seen the game, if anything, no matter what, you'd win. I feel like, because we could just laugh about it, be like, I know where you got that from, and then we talk about it, and then so I think no matter what, just playing that game in general, and then just going to a convention where gaming happens, someone's bound to have played that game. I mean, or at least watched it, so people know of it. And I think no matter what, whether, you know, actual in-game answers work, just bringing it up in general, I still think would be really. We could laugh about it. It'd be great.
So you try it seriously, it doesn't work, and then it's ironic.
And then it's a meme, and then you're still good. You're still
you're still good to go.
Yeah.
All right.
Were any of the situations, Richard, that you had in the game, were any of those derived directly from real life situations that you ran into?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Wow. Okay.
Most things, and we had like brainstorming sessions, and everyone was kind of throwing in their ideas and experiences.
The funny thing is, some of those, you know, this is the last thing, just to make a little quick joke, but it's not a joke. Sorry. Some of those absurd answers, I think Knut will agree with me here. Some of those absurd answers in certain situations with certain types of humans, they actually do work. They do work. Some of the absurd ones, they do work. And Knut's laughing, you know, he knows. So it's definitely fun. It's definitely fun. And you know, I think you'll enjoy it. You know, I think everyone will enjoy it as long as they're not too overly sensitive, and as long as they're very cool and very fun, and they'll enjoy it. But anyways, let's go to the next topic here. I want to get Dyrus more involved. Dyrus is kind of, you know, he's on a Tekken tunnel vision, just playing Tekken the last couple weeks. Yeah, he's just nonstop Tekken. You know, He's a great guy, great Overwatch player, great everything. But anyways, I want to talk about certain words on Twitch, right? So there are certain words on Twitch that, like, you know, you can get in trouble for. Certain phrases, certain things, right? Why hasn't there been some sort of integration within the website to do something about that, right? Is that a possibility? Can the website itself have an integration where certain words are just, you know, it has...
They have that.
They do have it.
Well, you can't say, well, I don't want to say the words you can't say because then people are going to try to say them. But there are words that are globally banned. And I think that that's obviously, I mean, I don't think there should ever be a situation where there's a word that an individual can type into chat that can hurt the streamer regardless of context that the person can actually put into the chat. Like, what is the point of that? Why would you even let that happen in the first place? And, I don't know. I think another interesting thing that happened today, speaking of like that and like in, you know, tangentially related is, I think we can talk about this, right? Is Ice Poseidon's subreddit got quarantined.
Oh,
so
yeah.
like, yeah, it's happening in a lot of other places too. And I think that's probably just an advertising play, but it's becoming much more common.
What does it mean to be quarantined though?
It's one step away from being banned. It's basically where Reddit says, we don't make any money off of you because we don't want you to lose us money through advertisers. And they basically take anything that's objectionable and they quarantine it. That way the website is more friendly for advertisers. That's the bottom line, literally. At least that's my opinion of it. Money. Yeah, there it is. I think that's what drives a lot of these decisions to prevent people from saying certain things, right? Because it just, what makes sense is let people do whatever they want, right? Because it's the easiest thing. And usually whenever somebody does what isn't the easiest thing, there's some sort of a reason for it. And oftentimes that reason is money.
Pretty cool. Yeah. Dyrus, how about you? Do you think certain words that, you know, aren't banned right currently should be banned? Like, do you find...
Well, it's hard for me to say because I don't even know what those words are besides,
well, I can tell one. Here's one for you, Dyrus. League of Legends.
I mean, so if that was a banned word, is that what I'm going to use as an example?
Is it a joke?
Oh.
But, yeah, this is a joke. Like, there was nothing else really for me to say.
Yeah, I can't ban the word league or lol or anything, and when I did ban league, they just put threes or periods, so, I mean, people know what they're doing.
Yeah.
When they type it.
You can't escape it. It's going to happen no matter what, unfortunately. It's just what people will do for attention. That's what it comes down to, I think. A lot of attention.
I just hate how words have power. And some fucking 10-year-old could literally walk into something I'm doing on stream and just fucking ruin it by saying some shit. It's the dumbest thing. I hate it.
I think that, like, if the streamer does, like, due diligence, right, and everything is going to be fine, right? I just think, like, you know, somebody goes on there, they say something that's incredibly racist, and the streamer goes, ha 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 ha, don't say that here, right? But it's like, we're in on the joke, and yeah, we actually are, you know, the superior race or whatever the, you know, the joke was. You know, that's obviously going to be something that's going to make the website look bad. But I think that if the person is, if they're trying to remove it from the screen as fast as possible, nothing probably is going to happen unless they're doing it all the time.
Have you dealt with any trolls, Richard, while you've streamed or anything?
I never streamed.
Oh, you've never streamed?
Good
no.
call.
Oh, it was.
I've trolled myself.
It was that one scene. There was a scene in Seducer where it was like the intro. I thought it must have been a joke.
Yeah.
It must have flew over my head. Oh. Well,
Pokey, you said one interesting thing here. You said you wish Word didn't have power.
Yeah.
Actually, that's just a problem in North America, I think, because we don't have that problem here. You can say or use whatever word you will here. People will not care. They use those banned words on the TV here. They use it on the radio just for making jokes, and people don't care about it. It's so different culture compared to North America in general.
Do you see any difference? I have a question for Richard. Like, as far as like coming from, I mean, before the gaming world, before releasing Super Seducer, were you heavily involved in the gaming world? Like, this goes to my next question for you. Like, I
played a lot of games, but I wasn't, I wasn't watching Twitch and stuff. So I was the first time on Twitch. Everyone's like poggers, gachi base. I'm like, what the fuck's all this? So I kind of had to learn a few things. But before that, I was playing games since I was like 6 or 7 years old. I got a Sega Master System, and then I had all the Sega consoles to the Dreamcast, and then PlayStations.
Well, I was gonna ask, do you see any increase in toxicity, coming from, maybe your life and then releasing Super Seducer 2 and maybe getting some feedback through different communities? Have you noticed any like toxicity? Have you noticed the more, is the gaming community, or not the gaming, just...
Yeah, it's the worst. It was awful. Yeah. Definitely awful. Because I released stuff in the past, I'm in the public eye to some extent. I've been on TV and had the YouTube channel, and I've got the book out, but there was just never a lot of hate. And as soon as the game was announced, and there was like the Vice article and all of this stuff, and I was getting people saying "kill yourself" and whatever on Twitter. Reddit? Twitter was awful, actually. Yeah. And then things. It was quite harsh, but I think the difference was, in the past, people always came to me because they wanted dating tips, and now it's like out there for everyone, so everyone has something to say about Super Seducer, whereas in the past the only people that would comment about me were the ones that kind of found me and wanted to know about it. But yeah, stuff like my Wikipedia page got taken down, so I don't think that was gamers. There's been a lot of hate. Yeah.
Why did your Wikipedia page get taken down?
Yeah, they said it was not notable, but it was at the time when there was just...
Wow, that's rude.
What the hell?
I thought Wikipedia was for everyone almost.
There wasn't a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was very undemocratic and anti-freedom of speech, definitely. So I don't mind.
For Richard. That girl on the Super Seducer, one of the main characters, I remember when XCC played the game, and there's a part in the game where she shouts out her Instagram.
Yeah.
And I think her comments got XCC comments, or like any bruggers or something. Like
like poggers, PogChamp.
Like, did she get mad? I don't
she didn't tell me, so I don't think so. Yeah, but it was her choice. She wanted more Instagram followers because she does her modeling and stuff, and clients look at that and then decide if they want to book her, and if she has more followers, they think it's going to be better. So I think she doesn't mind. She got, I don't know, like 600 extra followers from that.
Very cool.
Sweet.
I mean, she knows what she signs up for when she does that, right?
Thank you, Dyrus.
I hope so.
Yeah, I don't know how you can.
Thank you, Dyrus.
I mean, you're going to put yourself out there. It's like the same thing with like what Richard was saying. I mean, there's going to be assholes. I mean, 100%. Doesn't matter what you do.
Yes.
Yeah, no matter who you are, somebody's not going to like you.
She only got 600 followers?
It's going to be more than that.
Yeah.
It's going to be way more than that.
Yeah. Definitely. I definitely agree. That's definitely very cool. What topic are we on right there? We're talking about Twitch role toxicity. Oh yeah,
yeah, toxicity. Words that should be basically automated.
Sorry,
like globally across Twitch, and why they're not.
Yeah, Destiny. Do you have any words that if there was some filter offered to you that would be, that would actually go through, it actually work properly? Maybe some sort of coding thing. Would you like that on Twitch or no?
Something. I mean, they already have something like that for the global filter stuff.
Does it work though? Does it actually?
Yeah, like racial slurs and homophobic stuff. Yeah.
Yep.
Then I wonder why it's such a big issue. I guess it's just people just add a number or two in between.
They do anything.
There's a million different ways. I mean, like look at Hades, man. Look at Hades. Like, I mean,
oh, no.
And that's one guy that's just dedicated. There are like hundreds and thousands of people out there that are on a crusade.
It's a Discord. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but it's a Discord. It's not just one guy.
Well, what I'm saying, you know what I mean, right? It's like there is, and like, isn't that even more the case? There is a community of people that are dedicated to doing this. I mean, that's really almost impressive. I don't even know what to say about it. So I mean, like, obviously it's always going to be, you know, you're always responding to it. So basically there are going to be a million ways that they can't get in, but if there's one that they can, that's what they're going to use. And you're always like responding. It's reactive. And I don't know really what they can do about it overall, you know, how they can stop it for good. I don't think it's ever going to happen. But I think just giving the broadcasters the abilities that they have now, they should be able to solve it no problem. Like, broadcaster can stop anything that they want in their channel, and it's fine. That's where I'm at least.
Okay. Well, let's go to the next topic here, and I think this ties into my questions to Richard about toxicity, you know, in real life versus the gaming world, or versus, you know, the internet in general. And I also heard, you know, people are gonna laugh at this next example I'm gonna give, which was Ninja. I think Ninja said on his stream that Instagram and Twitter have been his most toxic. People who don't know you or don't know about anything, they just go in and they, you know, they go really hard on you, et cetera, et cetera. So this goes to the next thing, and something released where LSF has the 4th highest ratio of downvotes on and across all of Reddit.
Wait, what?
I saw that.
Wait, what is LSF?
Livestream Fails.
Yeah,
Livestream Fails.
Oh,
yeah,
right.
It has
I knew
the
that.
4th highest ratio of downvotes, of downvoted comments and downvoted posts.
I know why. I mean, it's very, very polarized, right? You have people that are very opinionated and not very informed, and they like to agree with each other or disagree with each other very strongly. And if you look at the comments there, people get really pissed off. It's almost funny to read. It's always funny for me to read like threads that are about myself, and just for to listen to the things that people think about me. Do what?
I got baited an hour ago, dude. I responded with a paragraph. I got so baited, dude. I got baited, man. I got baited, dude. I went in, dude. I was so triggered. They took a clip from Pokelaw's stream and they made
I literally told you don't respond.
I know, they made it.
You're like, yeah, don't worry, and then you're clicking with it.
Yeah. They made
We just talked about
me
this.
hating women and stuff, and I got so mad. So I responded with a paragraph. And man, it's bad. I got downvoted to oblivion.
I literally said,
"Oh man, I've got to go read that." I think that's everybody has probably done that at least once or twice. And I have a rule, right, where like I really only make posts that are like clarifying something that I've done, right? I never defend myself, very, very rarely at least, or I try not to, because I think that if you start defending yourself, then you're going to create this feedback loop of people trying to attack you to get your attention.
Yes.
And so I never defend myself.
And I was talking to Destiny about it earlier, about like they put you in a situation where they're trying to get a false confession. Either you admit to their narrative or you're a liar. So like it puts you in this really bad corner, and I just got baited so bad. It's unfortunate. I should have listened to you.
Can't you delete it?
You were playing Overwatch, dude. That game brings out a certain type of tilt.
I know. I was tilted, bro. We lost like fucking 10 games. Like we should have won all of them. Like I was just so tilted.
Wait, was that when you invited me?
Yeah, that was only invited you.
I already knew. Dude, the first loss we had, it felt awful. So when you said we're going to play again, I don't know, man. I had it uninstalled for a reason.
Yeah. Hey, Richard, do you play any games recently? Any new games or like?
You know what? I've been playing purposely really bad games that I don't really like because I didn't want to distract from making Super Seducer 2. So I didn't buy God of War and stuff. But just when the game came out, I bought Dead Cells and I was playing that and I really like it. So that was cool.
Slither.
That's a good choice.
People are saying I have a bad mic. Is my mic bad, guys? Hello?
It's like it must be something with OBS because you sound
your
fine.
mic sounds fine.
Really? So it's an OBS thing?
It's got to be something from there.
What's probably happening is the feedback, the mic's feedback is going back into the program, I believe, because that's what's happened to me before on my stream.
Weird.
It's like a circular thing.
That's
I don't know. Actually, I don't even. I understand it so little that I don't even know how to explain it.
Yeah, and the little you understand, I understand even more little. Okay. Yeah. Destiny, are there any topics you want to talk about? I feel like usually I include you the most, and I've kind of included everyone else. And you know, is there anything that like that it would interest you? I want to hear you speak a little bit. You know, I like you a lot.
Yeah, we can talk about your Livestream Fails clip if you want.
No, thank you. No, thank
jeez.
No, thank you.
Okay.
No, thank you, dude. I mean, if you want, which one you want to talk about? There's a couple, dude.
There really are, huh?
There are a couple, dude, of the same. I mean, it's. I was playing Overwatch, okay, dude. I was a little upset.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a rough record.
It's
yesterday.
just one of those days.
You're trending right now, Tyler.
I know I'm trending, dude. It's not. I get it, dude. Okay, let's just move on, dude. Okay, I get it, dude. It all happened after the Raj thing too. Like after the Raj show, I think people caught their moment of their fire, and they posted like 3 clips from 29 hours ago. So
what happened on there? Or do you just not want to talk about it?
Oh no, nothing. I mean, listen, like they bring me on for a reason, you know. It's like they bring me on for a reason,
Okay.
and then I do what I need to do, you know. For the we all have entertainment, and then afterwards, people, they're too heavily invested into the actual narrative instead of just kicking back and enjoying the entertainment, you know. It's kind of what you said. It's kind of what you said about me a while ago, Asmongold. People take me too seriously.
Everybody takes everything too seriously.
Dyrus.
People get so mad.
I got something.
Go ahead.
Train, have you seen Lakari's clip of you?
Which one is that?
Well, the most popular one.
What was that one last week?
Him reacting to you, yeah. Maybe I'm like behind the times.
That like last week. I don't want to get too into that. Is Trihex coming on?
Trihex's internet's dead still. He's continuously replugging and unplugging. So
I was going to talk about the Bowsette thing, but I know that if he was coming on, he'd want to be involved with that.
Oh, absolutely.
Dude,
What is Bowsette?
I just know it, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
well, before we move on here,
Is that going to be a topic?
What is Bowsette?
Have you not seen it?
Wait.
Okay.
Bro, you just Google
Before
it.
we
Have
move
you not
there,
gone on Twitter?
before we move there, I want to answer Dyrus's question. Yes, I saw.
Okay.
Yes, I saw the one where Lakari was like he was defending me, but he was yelling. He got really emotional about it, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I saw that one. Shout out to Lakari. Dude, he defended me real hard there. I love you, dude. But anyways, yeah, the Bowsette thing. Continue.
Yes.
Yeah. So basically, it's like Bowser. It's like the mix between Bowser and Princess Peach, with like huge ass titties and a collar. Like it's basically the best thing that's ever been made. And is this actually like a real thing? That's what I didn't understand. Is this actually happening in like a game, or is this just pure fan fiction?
It's art.
Nintendo.
I mean, it's
made, like, an
already on
item, I think.
Pornhub, so.
Oh
Yeah, but is it
great.
It's not actually in like. I don't think there's any in-game footage. It's mostly artists.
I think we need to get
all the
yeah.
mangakas or whatever. They're all writing their comics, their fantasies, all jumping on the train. We even have like people cosplaying it. We have people with like animations and all that shit.
I think we need to round those people up and get them to buy Super Seducer and teach them how to get some real women, because those drawings.
Oh no,
Dude, they love their 2D. Don't take that away.
Get out!
oh no.
Yeah, you're gonna have to make an anime version of it, Richard, in order to tap into that audience.
I was speaking to someone about an X-rated version, but I'm not sure about it actually.
Oh,
All right.
Oh,
Canute would love to be an actor in that one.
Technically release
Ooh.
Can you release a 18 full R-rated?
it looks like you can on Steam now if you just mark that it has sex stuff in it. I don't really know, but it seems like they've changed things there. I think there's some unpatched games there.
Stuff.
I think our company is already just finished in terms of reputation, but I probably wouldn't want to be the face of it, but I wouldn't mind working with someone who wanted to do it. If it's all,
I can give you a good face. Yo, boys, put the squad W's in chat. That's the face of your company right there, brother. I'll take the heat. I'll take the heat. Trust me. Anyway, so the Bowsette things, yeah. So I saw a lot of Twitter posts of a lot of people cosplaying Bowsette, and I won't lie, I had some, I wanted to respond to some, but I didn't. But yeah, that's definitely.
Did you get a chub?
No, I didn't. But
did it make you mad?
No. Oh, come on.
You had to talk about how much you hated women.
Curious.
Dude,
How'd you feel about this?
No, it was great. It was amazing. I support it, and I'm very freedom to anime, freedom to Bowsette. I love it, dude. Yeah, I love it. Anyways, let's move on here.
Wow, that was quick.
Yeah, I had to get off that topic, especially when Poke dropped. Did it make you mad? I had to get off.
Before we go to the next topic.
Dyrus, I was thinking about getting a train into VR chat.
Oh my god.
Imagine it'd be some good ass content.
That actually would be great.
Train, do you even have
a great idea? I love it.
Do you have a VR headset?
A Vive, a HTC Vive.
Okay. Oh man.
I don't have one.
Oh, you don't have
one? Get one, and me and Dyrus will take you on an adventure.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm actually curious to this.
Why are you saying like that?
Oh, adventures, huh?
I know some people in VR chat that do some very, very fucked up shit.
I'm gonna be honest, Richard.
I'm not even allowed to talk about this shit.
Do you guys want to elaborate on what fucked up shit is?
It's called adventures.
Yeah, I'm curious.
It's called ERP.
Very curious.
People in VR chat literally.
ERP, for anybody that doesn't know, I play WoW, so I know what this is. It stands for erotic roleplay.
I don't want to talk about it because I don't want to give people the impression of VR chat.
No, don't give out their names.
No, I mean, it's very obvious. Like, I mean, come on, you go on there and like every other person is like an anime girl and the other half are the Ugandan knuckles. Of course, that's what VR chat is for. So how do they do it?
Yeah, how does it go down?
Yeah, let's get a little bit more into this.
Thank you. You're right.
Well,
a little bit.
Go ahead.
I don't know about Poke, but I'm not experienced in any of that, so I would not be able to tell you anything.
Well, he'll show us the way.
Let's just get that clear.
I don't know anything either.
Poke, please elaborate.
He's a little flustered.
People have trackers on their foot. And
no, that's enough. Okay, so basically, VR chat's a little bit different now than it was back last year. And so where do you see VR chat?
No, it's not. It's just that's like a secret thing people do.
Poke, is the reason why you don't want to like disclose what's happening and how they're like going out with their ERP is because you're a part of it?
I'm not a part of it. I just don't want the game to be a Second Life. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
God. There's nothing like that. That's in private.
Realistically,
anyway.
Go ahead.
Anyways, I think it would be hilarious to see Trainwrecks in a VR environment, like just in general, because there's a lot of
surrounded by girls looking for attention.
Everyone would be scared of him.
Well, not just like
dude.
It's not all about the anime girls. Like people do their memes, they make their animations, like anything that's trending, like they'll just make jokes and memes about. And there's like maps of like actual games. Like name any game that you've played, or name your favorite game.
Mine?
Yeah.
My favorite game in the entire world is Diablo 2 and Diablo 2 Lord of Destruction.
Okay, imagine if the last boss, the Diablo room, like in a VR chat map, you could see all like the angles in VR, and like maybe there's like effects or animations, or maybe you get to watch the fight in VR. That's where the creativity and that's where all the potential comes from. But all I hear is a potential nowadays.
He likes Halo, but there's a bunch of Halo stuff too.
I love Halo too.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Halo maps, and you can actually shoot each other in VR chat, like actually virtually.
I'll be honest, completely off topic on a tangent. And I think chat commented too. For a moment, my eyes caught on to there's a mirror behind Richard, I believe, and it like literally, I think Canute caught it too. It caught like it seemed like a super seducer scene right there. Like I believe it's his wife or something in a robe standing there, and then she sits, and then he's on the phone, and I could see the I could see the four options. Keep looking at the phone. B, put the phone down and engage the woman. C, you know what I'm talking about? I just saw it exactly in my head. It was hilarious.
Okay, Richard, I have a question regarding your coaching, not the game. What kind of guys are actually your clients, and what do you have to teach them? What can you learn them? Do you teach them like specific techniques, or
Yeah,
hello is that's why. Hello is this fixed? Hello.
We used to do
hello is it fixed?
We'd have a weekend one where it starts with like the body language, the fashion, and then it goes into how to start conversations, how to have a good conversation, and then on the second day we'd cover, I don't know, texting and how to go for the kiss and how to have a good first date. So it would, cover everything. And the guys that came were actually generally introverted guys, good guys, guys that work in male-dominated professions or are just very busy with work and don't have much time for their social life. So they were generally introverted, generally shy. We didn't get like the cocky asshole guys that just want to have sex with lots of girls. We didn't get those because they would never sign up for a course and admit that they need some help. So no, they were generally very good guys, and we'd teach them everything that we could in all kinds of different courses. But we stopped doing it because it was I kind of moved away from London and it was too much work and whatever. So now we just sell their products.
Do you feel like the people that are like in the darker side of the pickup culture and dating advice culture have given a bad name to the overall idea?
Yeah. Oh, definitely, because back in 2007, it was actually quite cool. There was a best-selling book called The Game by Neil Strauss. It was very, very mainstream, got good reviews from the mainstream press. It sold millions. And then there was a VH1 show called The Pickup Artist. And, so it was very mainstream and kind of cool. And so you could even tell someone that you were a dating coach and they'd be like, oh, wow, cool, like those pickup artist guys. And you're like, yeah, kind of like that. And they're like, wow, I love that. That's so interesting. Tell me more. And then there were a few situations where I don't know. I think there was one guy who accused of rape. There was, there's Roosh, who probably just tries to create scandal, to get noticed. I don't know if he actually even believes all the stuff he says. And then there was this Elliot Rodger who wasn't a pickup artist. He was on a website.
The Supreme Gentleman.
Yeah, he was on a website called PUA Hate, which was very, very anti-pickup artists. They just insult everyone in the area. So the press kind of got that wrong and said that he was a pickup artist, but he was on the anti-pickup artist website. But definitely, there were a lot of bad guys in it. And even back in the day, when it wasn't very public, there were lots of guys that would want to get back on women because they'd been rejected so many times, and they'd say, well, I can lie to them because they're all dishonest, and they had a really bad attitude. So that was always a part of it. The guys that kind of got drawn to that because they were unsuccessful and they hated women. But I think the guys that generally came to the courses were the guys that blamed themselves for their lack of success with women, and they almost were too nice and too polite, and they didn't want to bother women, and they didn't think they were good enough to be worthy of a woman's time. So
that's sad. And like, yeah, it's like if you put it in that light, it sounds like something that's completely positive and good and everything. Then you have the Supreme Gentleman like Elliot Rodgers and the potential rapists like Roosh. I don't know if that's true or not. I have no idea. The weird thing about Elliot Rodgers, the ironic thing about it, is that like my main game that I stream on Twitch is World of Warcraft, and Elliot Rodgers in like one of his videos legitimately quoted the orc version of Hitler in World of Warcraft.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it came out in his like little manifesto, right? It came out in his manifesto that he actually played the game and was into it and all of this kind of stuff. So that's how I know about this guy, and it's actually crazy how I guess like that perspective has changed. And it's another example, I think, of a lot of these conversations and like these different cultures and everything being defined by extremes, and rather than the good and the positive actors in the community, you see like the the Elliot Rodgers, which like as you said, was like very against pickup artists, right? Because he felt like those people were like taking advantage of women, and women weren't, they were going for assholes.
Yeah,
isn't that what he said?
Well,
he was saying that what they taught didn't work, and that you had to just be a certain type of person, otherwise you weren't going to get women. So
yeah, so I think this is called it's
the
called
genetic component.
It's called taking the black pill, I think, right? This is when you get so far down the incel road that you realize that all the PUA shit is total bullshit. It's 100% shit, and in reality, women only go for like the 20% chads, and nothing you do can change that. So those are the types of guys that are so far down that road. They hate like PUA people because they think that they're hindering people from seeing the truth, which is that some guys will never be able to get a girl because they're not part of that 20% chaddom.
There's so many of those. There's like the red pill, the blue pill, the green pill, the black pill, the iron. Like I know a little bit about this, and it's absolutely like insane. The way that people look at it. But you're absolutely right?
Yeah.
And what they're saying, right, for everybody to understand, is that the way that these people view like dating and everything is that they view, because they're not I guess appealing physically, or they don't have the right social status, basically aka money. They don't have money, or they're not physical appealing, not tall enough, etc. There's no way that they will ever be successful, and because of that they just hate anybody who is successful.
Real quick, if I can interject here, I just want to introduce Trihex, his internet fixed. Welcome, Trihex.
Hey, can you hear me, by the way? Do I sound fine?
I hear you perfectly.
Yeah.
Thanks for showing up. Cool. Real quick, I want to introduce, there's only, I think, Dyrus.
Yeah, I see some new faces here.
Dyrus and Trihex. Do you guys know each other?
Do we?
Dyrus, I think you're muted. There we go. You're
wait,
back.
can you hear me?
You're back. We hear you now.
Yeah, you're back.
No, I don't think we know each other, but hi, I'm Dyrus.
What's up, man?
Next, we have just in case, we have Trihex and Jenna, Trihex and JCG. If you guys don't know each other.
Nice to meet you. I met you when you took a photo with my friend Foe at TwitchCon, and I photobombed you guys.
Like Smash Foe? Like Smash Brothers
Foe from RuneScape.
From RuneScape. Okay. I'm trying to think here. Okay.
Still doesn't know.
And you photobombed. Was that that hotel? The hotel where we got kicked out of?
It was in the partner lounge.
Oh, okay. All right.
No.
Awesome. Yeah, that was all a blur. So glad to see you, man.
And then finally, we have this is Richard Trihex, Richard. Trihex is the global emote. I don't know if you've seen the emote Tryhard. It's one of the most used emotes on Twitch.
Oh,
he is the face of Tryhard.
The face of Twitch.
Yeah, he is the face of Twitch.
The face of Twitch. The future of Twitch.
Most used emote, right?
It's top 3 in a given month. It's debatable whether it's a number 1, number 2, number 3.
You're keeping track, though.
Yep.
Say again?
I said you're keeping track, though, right?
Occasionally, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I keep track whenever I want to brag about something, yeah.
Of course.
I think there was a topic that Trihex wanted to talk about. We kind of went over it a little bit. We put it together with Richard's super seducer game, and what that could have done to help people, help people out in these interactions between man and woman. But I kind of saved it more so for you, so you can go more in depth to it. The divorce topic. As soon as these guys are finished the current topic, I'm not sure if I interrupted you guys. I just want to get Trihex in there as soon as possible. But continue if you guys are still discussing that topic.
Oh yeah, no, I apologize if I interrupted anything.
No,
please continue.
Oh, I forgot even what I was talking about. So let's just go with the new one.
You were describing all the pills and the incels.
What were you saying?
Oh, we were talking about the different types of pills, like the levels of incels.
Now, I don't know if we were derailing into incel and chaddom because of another topic, but that's when I came into here. This point.
It was like two tangents on top of each other, right? Like the idea of the violence and super cynical pickup artists, and the more predator type pickup artists, and then we were talking about Elliot Rodgers, and then we were talking about like what his mentality was and his philosophy was. Then we were talking about the different ways that like the black pill, red pill, blue pill, and all of that other stuff. I think that's pretty much how it happened.
Okay.
Yeah. I had one more question regarding the coaching. When you were coaching these guys, did you look at the type of guy and give them different advices? Because
yeah, for sure.
I would believe, for example, you couldn't give the same advice to me and let's say Asmongold. I don't think we can approach girl at the same way.
That.
So that wasn't but we're different.
You should take you should take into account someone's age. So if a guy is older, he should play more high status. If he's young, more fun. You need to take into account his looks. Obviously, a guy that is better looking can just approach and be a little bit more direct. You know, I saw you and I liked you, wanted to meet you. That would be okay. If a guy is less attractive, he should be a little bit more indirect and kind of start more in the friend zone and then kind of move from there. Play the kind of longer game, social game, and then of course like the different places that would be appropriate, like a nighttime place or daytime or whatever. So yeah, we definitely tailored the coaching, but it was surprising. You know, guys always thought that it was all about the looks, but we had lots of situations where very handsome guys were just very boring and they would bomb, and then there'd be a guy that doesn't look good at all, and the women just take to him because he's got something about him, and he's you know, so that's like the big fallacy that most guys have, is that women pay as much attention to looks as men do, and also that what women say, you know, publicly, that they want like a guy that is over a certain height and over a certain income, that matches up in real life, and they would only date that person. It's not actually true.
So you're saying there's a chance?
Yeah.
That's what I'm hearing.
There's a chance.
Right.
You hear that, boys?
Asmongold, I was talking about the wallet. I'm fucking poor. I was not talking.
Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. I thought it was funny, dude. You know me. I never get mad.
I know. That's why I used
That's
you.
Great, dude. Yeah. Don't worry.
The whole chat.
There was also
Money doesn't help much. Like we used to teach in London, and there's like 100,000 millionaires or something in London. So it's like you're another bank, you're another lawyer, architect, whatever. It doesn't really matter. And women were always drawn to like the cool, fun guy because they didn't, you know. The rich guys are generally more boring. So no, money again, it's another fallacy. Definitely helps, but a lot of the guys that have money don't use it in the right way. They tend to just like buy champagne in clubs or drive around in a fancy car, but they don't use it the right way.
You think that's like, it's also, in a way it makes sense, right? Is because these guys that have a lot of money are probably spending a lot of time at work, at a job, and they're not really having these experiences with other people, and you know, these things that enrich your life. So I think in a lot of ways what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
I actually completely agree with that. But to add in a question on my own, do you think, I mean, I guess this is more of an obvious answer or an obvious question I shouldn't be asking, but I'm going to ask anyways. With that being said, do you think that what a woman is looking for matters? Does that make sense? So if a woman's looking for a one-night stand, she might be a little bit more shallow, versus a woman that's looking for a long-term relationship, she might be a little less shallow and go for the funny, interesting gentleman. Does that make sense? Like, do you think things like that apply with what you're talking about?
A guy should be, you know, be very flexible with the kind of woman that he's talking to. Some interactions should just be very fun and light, depending on the environment, and then some have room to be deeper. And you shouldn't have an idea of how it's going to be until you're in the interaction.
Cool.
What physical component for a guy is the biggest determining factor for if a girl is going to talk to him or not?
We saw massive differences with fashion. Obviously, we couldn't, you know, send him to the gym for 6 months and then like compare. But definitely taking him and just putting him in trendy, well-fitting clothes, even if they weren't expensive, that would give him a little bit more swagger, either immediately when he saw himself or when he started getting positive reactions. So the easiest and fastest change you can make is just getting top fashion. So, you know, look at GQ or whatever and like find a model of a guy that looks good to you, like that you would be comfortable with that. Copy that outfit and, you know, and go from there, and you should get much better reactions.
So it's almost like a self-perpetuating thing where if somebody's wearing nice clothes, they feel nice, and if they feel nice, they're going to act more confident, and they're acting more confident, they're going to get more people.
All of it is self-perpetuating, all of it. So it's like if a guy has just met someone and arranged a date, and then he's walking down the road, he exudes a better and then he gets more attention, he'll get more women looking at him, and then if he talks to them, he'll get better responses. So it's all it's all kind of a snowball effect. And that's why when we were coaching, we'd try and just push them in the right direction, and then there'd often be momentum. So we'd start with the stuff like the fashion, the body language, and just getting comfortable with women, and then we often saw that the confidence kicked in, and it got better and better.
I like the momentum aspect. Go ahead.
Jenna.
Oh no, I was just saying they took flight.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it's like a little bird. You help them fly away.
Just push them out of the nest.
Yeah, flap away.
Let them go.
What about height? I think that's the main thing that people always consider. Like, if a guy is under 6 foot, he's got a bunch of problems. Where are you at with that? What's your experience?
It's definitely the biggest issue that guys have. Like, if a guy is a little shorter, it's a big issue for him. Mm-hmm. In reality, a lot of women will say that they want a guy above a certain height, and some women actually mean it. But I think that there are enough women out there that it's not so important to, that it's not a deciding factor, and it doesn't mean that you're going to be lonely by any means. It might mean you need to work a little bit harder, and there might be some women that just wouldn't be interested. We saw a lot of women be a little bit, rude to short guys. So I think you need a bit of a thicker skin. But
that's terrible.
It's definitely less of a factor than being shy and just not talking to people. So if you're a short guy but you're quite sociable, you're going to be fine. If you're a guy that is just very unsociable, doesn't like meeting new people, then be more than being short.
I think to piggyback real quick on it, because a lot of people don't understand this. Holy fuck, talking to guys about this kind of shit is like really cancerous. So this has just been my personal experience, and then from talking to people, it seems to be true. When it comes to like being like super shredded or like very tall or very handsome, these are things that like some women prefer, but it's definitely like in the minority. Like the idea that a girl needs a guy that's like 6'2" at least, or that a guy that's like super shredded. Like there are those girls out there that won't talk to you if you're not a certain type, but that is like really, really rare. And then to piggyback on what Richard said, there are girls that will say things like, oh, I like a guy like blah, 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 blah. But when you meet somebody that like makes you laugh and you have a really good time with them and there's a lot of chemistry, those things don't matter at all. Mm-hmm. And I mean, if you're a guy, you've probably experienced that to some extent as well. Like, I'm sure there's some guy out there that's like, I only really like blondes, or I only really like brunettes, or this type of body type. But then if you meet like a certain person that you have a really good time with, most people will be way more okay with that than trying to find like a really strict body type that 100% fits them.
No, you're completely right.
I agree.
I can actually give you an answer to that, Destiny, because I've been in bodybuilding contest shape a few times, and there's not a lot of girls who like that. I can That's like the minority. Wow. No, it's not. No, not when you're totally ripped, ready for contest. You're depleted. You're dehydrated.
Grumpy as fuck. Your mood gets fucked too. And if you're doing like
in periods, yes, but not all the time. So you have a majority of girls who like that, of course. Maybe girls who are into the sports themselves, mostly, but the majority likes off-season better.
Yeah. Dad bod.
It's more natural.
What?
Like, Knut, there's no way you're going to ever look natural, but in your off season, you look more natural. You're not so utterly ripped to the point you're just like, what the fuck?
Well, dehydrated, yeah. Because you have to deplete all your water weight.
Yeah, that's true. You look more normal in a way. Yeah. I'm not sure what to call it. But
I don't even know what to call you, Knut. I'm sorry, but like, a bit better.
Yeah. You can call me whatever. I don't take offense of anything.
I know you don't. I love you.
That there's like some threads. I wish I had a link to it for this conversation. But what Richard said too about like kind of just taking care of yourself a little. Like people can go from looking very fucking incel-y virgin-y to like this guy could be one of like the random actors that you see in like the back of a movie, like walking by with like a change of clothes and like cleaning yourself and combing your hair and doing like really like shaving your fucking neck and shit. Like just like basic hygiene tips can go like a really, really, really long way in terms of like looking decent. Wait, are there neckbeards in here? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to call anybody out. Fucking Asmongold.
If we're getting into the whole the incel mentality in that regard, though, the problem. So there is obviously the what you're bringing up here that they don't shave or they don't maintain basic hygiene. I'm not saying basic hygiene, but just like the extraneous amounts of hygiene and/or self-care to like come off as I care. Period. Because they would care, but they're already convinced that caring is worthless. Like,
well, yeah, it's like that self-fulfilling prophecy. It's kind of like what Richard was talking about, like for momentum, right?
The
like
opposite.
Once you start doing stuff, you know, everything kind of falls in line with it.
Yeah, definitely that.
It's an easy thing to say. It's like I can't do it because of that, so I'm not going to try, and that's what a lot of guys do, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that's why people like obsessing over height so much too. Because like if you're like 5'7" or some shit, you're like, well, I'm never gonna be 6'0", so fuck it. You know, nothing I do is ever gonna work, so I can blame all my failure on that, right?
I think that's actually a really good way to look at it, right? Like you look at the one thing that you can't control, you blame it all on that, and that way there's no responsibility.
Pretty much, yeah.
There you go.
Also echo chamber too. Like typically it's incels hanging out with other incels, so it's like you're just getting it reinforced through all kinds of angles here. Because right now you're saying in your own thoughts it's like, yeah, I'm not 6 foot, therefore it's beyond my control and responsibility. But then you go to those like incel rate yourself or rate each other threads or whatever it could be, honestly. And then you're getting the other things too. Oh, your chin is trash, bro.
The people are like, you need to shave like 3 millimeters of bone off your fucking. Yeah. Oh, dude, those threads get crazy.
Your collarbone, bro? Are you kidding me, dude? I thought you were a chick. It was so effeminate. Holy shit! Go kill yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's the new thing, right? That community.
That's
the more hardcore versions I think are pretty recent.
Wasn't this just 4chan back in the day?
So this
was this just created?
Well, in a way, yes. So the incel community has been evolving over, I'd say, the past like 3 to 4 years. And there was originally a subreddit where most of them went, and they shut down the subreddit, and then they made a second subreddit that a lot of them go through called Brain Cells. And there was a thread that I was like mentioning, I was a link to it, so I was looking at it, and I actually spent like 3 hours reading this subreddit because I just wanted to see what the hell these guys were thinking, right? I mean, because it is interesting to me. It's the same as I'll read all kinds of like crazy stuff, and any single female that would post there, they would just downvote them to oblivion. And it was crazy. Like I think that I don't really know the word that can best describe it, but I think jaded is the closest thing that I can go for. But I think you need something that's a little bit more severe. And it's actually very, very insane, like how seriously they take this whole thing, and like how many different reasons and excuses, like what you're saying, the collarbones and your cheekbones. It's like the whole like 2 out of 10 pointy elbows meme, but it's guys saying that to each other.
Ow, my ears.
That's a lot of echo. X. Sorry to introduce real quick our 10th participant. We have XQC. I think Richard, are you familiar with XQC? XQC, Richard.
XQC tuning in from an airplane.
Wait, is it my webcam mic or something?
Yeah, it's definitely your webcam mic.
Louder feels
Holy shit.
Go do so do you know how to use Skype, dude?
Yeah, I'm gonna reset my Skype, okay? Give me a minute.
Okay. Yeah, click the triple dot and go to settings.
Dude, I'm like locked in. I'm actually locked in.
No, mouse around and it should show the settings because they'll appear, and then you should be able to click the triple dot and then go to device. Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
You're good,
so
dude.
sorry.
It's okay.
Microphone. Is this better?
Yeah, it sounds way better.
Yeah. That's entirely better. So how have you been, man?
Great. Can you guys see me?
No.
There's a little loading thing, but that's about it. Oh, you probably have OBS still turned on, right?
It's open or something else.
No, but I'll fix it.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else that's utilizing your webcam?
Just make sure to.
Yeah. Go ahead. Settings.
Yeah. Go to webcam and make sure you choose the right webcam.
Video settings.
It's at the top right. No, if you click the bars, the Verizon bars or AT&T bars, whatever they're called, the bars, you can go to microphone, speaker, webcam.
Webcam's being used by another application. I get it. Yeah, I think I have to quit Discord. I think it's better if I just restart Skype, maybe. I'll rejoin the call.
Yeah, go ahead and try that.
Yeah, I'm waiting for chat to say the best advice is to uninstall Skype.
Damn. They've tried that already.
I was waiting for that punchline.
Yo, so it's our first time all of us using Skype again, right? in a long time.
Dude,
don't you guys fucking hate this program? I'm so grateful for Discord and shit.
We used to have to use Skype for my my shows that I would do on Allcraft, and it was just like the biggest headache ever because like I don't think there was a single show. Like what really happened is like the app for it for Microsoft or like for Windows 10 is like really bad. XQC, you gotta switch your mic again.
Yeah, the mic.
And the Windows 10 mic or the jeez. Okay.
I'm sorry, Asmon.
No, it's all right, dude. It's not your fault. It's the wind's fault. No. I think they ran Skype into the ground. Okay, it's really all there is to say about it.
Well, the biggest problem with Skype is everyone's vulnerability, which, by the way,
IP is being leaked. I think a lot of gamers and most people actually left the platform of Skype because of the fact
I did that too.
Badly insecure that you could literally just go type in Skype resolver, put someone's name in, and
their IP address.
You can now DDoS them to oblivion with your botnet.
And if you want to, you can actually dox it too. You can go back, see who your provider is, see the parent's name on that, and then from your parent's name, pay $3 to a website, and you get the child's name, their cell phone.
Why are you teaching kids, man?
And
teaching kids.
The point is,
terrible.
just to give you guys a
Train did RBGs back in the day. He knows all about it.
So you know, ABN and Atmos. You know, basically, I got doxed like 25 different times. I have about like 70 different Skype accounts. But anyways, just to keep you guys, clear, I actually renamed all of you guys. All of you guys are renamed to completely different things, random things, and I took some extra security precautions for you guys so they can't find you.
Oh, of course.
Yay!
And of course, everyone has their VPN.
I mean, currently Skype resolvers are down, and if
I'm in my bomb shelter.
All right, for sure. Everyone got VPN enabled. We're all good. It's all good.
Hey, I have a question for Richard. How many streamers in this call have you seen before?
XQC, for the love of God, dude.
Okay.
2, including you.
His camera finally worked, though. His camera finally worked. He probably didn't.
He keeps getting the mic, though. Yeah, his cam mic.
It's one or the other. That's all.
Dude, XQC broke my webcam. It's my. It's just flashing.
So I have an idea.
No.
Okay, so what happens is if you open Skype and you have microphone coming from one device and audio going to another, it's all like, hey, are you sure you want to create echo? Let's put the video and the audio on the same device, so it wants to go to webcam every single time.
My webcam is just flashing now. The LEDs are just flashing.
Oh,
you don't get DDoS by your random people. You get DDoS by your fucking.
Have you paid your monthly Skype tax so that it doesn't do this to you?
That's about right, dude. So
I mean, you could just put a public proxy over your connection settings and Skype, and you're good to go.
Of course.
Easy.
They're not resolving shit after that. You're fine.
I think So what you're asking is like, how many like streamers has Richard seen playing the game? Is that right?
I guess that's a better question. Like, have you watched a lot of streamers play the game, and any streamers you feel like, fuck this guy?
It's kind of less this time. With Seducer 1 more, but less this time. I think that when we give the early keys, it's really important to watch the streams because we actually find some things that are broken and stuff. So I watch quite a lot, and I tune in for like the first 2 weeks to just see who's playing every day and watch some random people and get some interactivity as well, see how people like the game. So for me, it's almost like part of the beta testing. And this time, everyone was very nice. Didn't really have any people dissing me too hard. But I think with Super Seducer 1, people were a bit meaner.
Well, that's good at least. I mean, maybe at least people now have accepted it. If they were going to complain, they would have already.
They know what they're going to get, and I think we actually did reduce the cringe. So I think that's
that's good.
That's why we do have less cringe.
You need more cringe. Cringe sells.
I think we made it funnier and reduced the cringe, so it's like less laughing at our expense.
Well, the funny thing is, I want to play the game seriously. I want to do it. I want to score the highest because the X.
Is there high scores?
There was.
Yeah, you can get 100% on each one.
Yeah, there's ranks and there's exploring. I want to play it seriously because believe it or not, the area you're in, Richard, it's actually an area that I really enjoy. I mean, I wouldn't say I'm on your level. Obviously, you're way above me, and your knowledge expands and exceeds mine, or exceeds mine. But anyways, no, it does. You know, this is his job.
No, I'm laughing because XQC's mic is just for a fucking second.
No.
The point is, I really want to play it, but no matter what I do, every chat I'm in, every community I'm in, they get so mad at me for playing it seriously. They want me to pick the wrong answers. Every time they want me to pick the answer where it's walk up to her and tell her you want to fuck her friend. Walk up to her and whip the dick out. They want me to pick the bad answers. I just want to play.
And when you do that, you kind of lose track of what the green route would look like and how it would be a really nice interaction. So you kind of lose the sense of it when you do that. Yeah, but obviously it's much more entertaining.
You just said don't do that.
And the hilarious part is, here's the hilarious part. They make you choose the wrong answer. Then at the end, when you get average Joe or lower, they give you shit for it.
They call you an incel.
Yeah, they call you an incel. And it's actually hilarious. Like, what the fuck?
Like, why would you do this?
That's funny.
But yeah, I saw XQC play and I saw Poke play, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely fun.
XQC, you good?
I didn't like it.
No, you're not. Alright, so that's that.
No.
It's bugged, so I'll fix it. It's
It's better.
Yeah, I have to go and buy this game actually.
That's good.
No, can you
guys? Do you mind if I drop off now? Because it's like breakfast is closing soon. We're in the hotel.
Good morning.
Dude, I'm so glad you came.
Yeah,
dude.
we're actually like, I really enjoyed talking to you, and I really appreciate you coming onto the show, man. It was great having you on and just kind of getting a look behind the curtain for your game, man. It's great, and it's made a lot of really great moments for everybody here on Twitch. So I think everybody here really appreciates it.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thanks for inviting me. It was
Thank you
to
so
meet
much
you guys.
for coming.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and being one of us. You know, I think a lot of people,
Thanks.
they don't get as involved as you've gotten. So I really appreciate that. Thanks for coming. I hope you had a good time. I hope hope everything went as well as you hoped. And
yeah, it was great.
I love you. That's all.
Sorry about Skype.
No, you're good.
All right.
Have a great morning.
Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Is this good? Is this good?
Yes, better.
Hey.
Dude, imagine doing an IRL stream with him. It would be amazing.
Oh man, that'd be great. I like that guy a lot, honestly. I had never played Super Seducer really before. I know I'd seen like a few clips of it, so I didn't really know what to expect. But he was actually like a really polite, nice, like just a great guy. I liked him a lot.
I didn't know that was him. Oh shit.
Wait, what? Really?
No.
Oh my god.
Train's intro was trash. He didn't say. I didn't even hear the word Super Seducer come from him.
Oh no.
When I joined, Train didn't tell me that.
Dude, I specifically, I was, listen, here was my thought
He
process.
didn't name drop.
Yeah,
Wow.
exactly. Here's my thought process. I was going to say Trihex, this is Richard from Super Seducer, but I was in my head, literally, I was just getting the envisionment, the future was coming to my head, LSF title, Trainwreck name dropping, Super Seducer Andy, like, just ridiculous. I already saw Destiny smirking, waiting for me to say it, just to give a snide remark.
You get a free pass there. So I think that's a fair overthought.
Trihex Richard, that's how I kept it.
So,
that's cool.
Tyler said earlier, Triax, that you had a topic that you wanted to bring into.
Yeah.
The divorce rates.
I think it's time.
Hey, okay. So, if I may, y'all, topic I ran across.
Hey, asshole, wait a second.
Oh,
just kidding.
Oh my God! All right, I see you. Yeah, all that. Actually, it's funny. The thing you're referencing right there by cutting me off with the being mad about being cut off. I got a topic for that too, actually.
Thank you.
Oh.
Well, or eventually, whatever.
I'm down
so,
with that, yes.
The thing I ran into earlier this week here is that divorce rates in United States are actually declining dramatically. We now have some pretty solid statistics now, and from over the last 8 years, from 2008 to 2016, divorce rate for women in United States has actually dropped 18% down to I believe 42% now.
That's incredible. Yeah, and so it was up at 60%. Is that right?
Or approaching 60%. Yeah.
Wow.
So there's a couple of stats here that I want to throw out some stats. That way you guys get the idea of the landscape of marriage in the United States right now. And in general, boomers have actually been increasing their divorce rate. Boomers being those who are now 65 or older.
Yes.
They've been increasing the divorce rate. It's always been high and bad, obviously, because back then there wasn't the internet. There wasn't aggregated dating websites and whatnot. It's just like, oh, she's my coworker. I'm gonna, we're gonna marry, whatever. Or she lives on the same zip code as me. Fuck it, we're gonna get married, whatever. There was like lower standards and there was lower barriers of entry to like just get to that point.
Oh, I want to shit on traditional TradCon values here for a second too. If you want to go into that. The religious way of marrying people is so beyond fucking stupid.
Yes.
The idea. So here are two huge dimensions of compatibility. If you're a Christian or a conservative that denies this, you're just so fucking. I admire how naive you are. So one, sexual compatibility is incredibly fucking important for a relationship. The idea of marrying somebody before fucking them is so hilariously fucking stupid. That's the first thing. And secondly, you do not. Okay, so this will trigger the fuck out of people, and I say this all the time on stream. Okay, this will trigger the fuck out of it. Your relationship is not real until you live with the other person. Like you've been dating 2 years and it's long distance. That's real cute. You've been dating 2 years. You live in the same city. You visit each other. You stay over. That's totally fine. Until you're actually fucking living together, you have no idea if you are actually compatible. Yeah, people get so mad.
Oh my god.
Okay. The sanctuary of purity.
Dude, sexual compatibility is massive. My aunt's husband turned out to be gay.
Well,
well, that's not
they
even.
didn't
That's
sleep
more
together before marrying, and they divorced because he found out he liked men. Okay.
Wow. Well, that's
so sweet.
Well, I think that so wasn't the whole thing with like, saving yourself to marriage, like wasn't that more or less like kind of a carryover from whenever marriages were more of a thing to kind of create and like retain wealth between families?
No, that was a carryover of Judeo-Christian values that said that if women used up their vaginas, they wouldn't be able to bond to their partners as much, and that women are never supposed to enjoy sex. It's only something you do to please your husband. There might have been some pragmatic value to that at some point in time,
I think
but it
was a pragmatic component.
Maybe, but that was like a very small component. Or with that, or you could say that might have been a larger component, but it carried a lot of horribly fucking sex negative baggage along with it.
Well, I think what happened maybe is like it was completely pragmatic at the beginning, and then as time went on, the religious component kind of just cannibalized it, and now, like, or at least like for the past few hundred years, it's just a completely religious component with no pragmatic component at all. Yep. Like that's what I would say.
Yeah, maybe.
Cool. Well, so to continue then, it's dropped 16% for women in the United States and whatnot. But the reasons why, one probably won't surprise you if you have a basic idea of sociology at this point. But yeah, boomers are divorcing higher because their barriers of entry are lower, given. And that notably here, young people, and by young, I don't mean just like millennials or Generation Z. I'm talking Generation X, as well as millennials and Generation Z. All of us, if you were born... When does Generation X start? That's
which one is that? Is that before or after us?
That's before millennials, isn't it?
That's before millennials, yeah. I believe millennials starts in 82, so we're talking like probably like
Gen X is early to mid to early 1960s to the early 1980s is Gen X. About.
Okay. All right. So yeah, so if you're like, let's say if you're like 35 or under, you're under that bracket, right? So 35 and younger. Generally are waiting until they're more educated, or in general they're more educated and they wait longer. And that's because of the fact that we have now the socioeconomic standards of like going to college to be anywhere near relatively competitive in the modern workplace, resume chasing environments and whatnot. So if you go to college, generally you're less likely to divorce because you're more educated. And if you're more educated, usually you end up waiting until longer to get married because you prioritize getting your career stable before committing to anything long term like marriage.
Well, I have a question. Does that also mean that like they're more educated into knowing like what they're getting into when they're getting married and shit?
I think that really it's a combination of being more educated and being older, right? You're more educated with experience. I think the big reason for that personally for people that are around our age is that a lot of times whenever we were growing up, we grew up through, the recession of 2007. And I don't know about you guys, but whenever I was trying to find a job in like 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012 even, it was really hard. Like I was struggling to get a job at Walmart. And now, it was sad. Like I was hoping that I would get a job at Walmart so I wouldn't have to work at Taco Bell. I've got my name tag there for working at the cafe at Sam's Club. It was a terrible time. Yep. So, I mean, I think that's a big component to why a lot of people that are around our age waited longer to get married is because I think that did kind of arrest development or delay development of people. And that didn't happen as much with people who were like our parents parents' age.
Reproductive freedom for women helped a lot as well. So access to things like easy contraception, like the pill and whatnot, have also led to women being able to put that off more. Because it used to be that, like, when you were younger, as soon as you started fucking, at some point you're probably getting pregnant, right? But nowadays with things like the pill, you know, you can engage in that type of activity a lot longer without having to worry about, like, oh, I'm pregnant, fuck me, you know? And then now I have to get married because it's kind of what you do once somebody's knocked out, right?
Yeah. I have a question. So it's like kind of a basic question, but I'm pretty sure like some people ask themselves like in chat as well. Like, why the fuck do you get married anyway? Like what is like the actual point of it?
I mean, if you like, do you mean like in terms of like a pragmatic?
Overall,
well, you
like,
have these.
If I had 10 hands, I have to get like reasons. I can't even find one.
That's actually.
Well, I think that.
Well, in American culture.
The same for that. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
In the most relevant modern sense, I find for American perspective of it, it's like one of the few things your parents want from you as a child. Like, I want to be a grandmother, and I want to be at your wedding. Like, getting married is like a thing that's on like the adult bucket list. Staying married is not. So everyone wants to go to the wedding. But the ramifications of the wedding itself are not as important. That's the thing I'm.
Well, like, so to present like and then another view of this is that I think that people generally don't want to die alone. Like, you want to feel like you have some level of companionship going through life. Having a significant other feels good. If you're reaching like your 20s or your early 30s and you're kind of dating around, at some point you kind of want somebody to get like a stated commitment, like, hey, this is for real. Because depending on the person, doesn't apply to everybody, but I would say probably for more than 50% of people, when you're starting to get into serious relationships in your late 20s, early 30s, the idea of that relationship ending and you having to go back to the dating pool well into your 30s or even 40s, it can be really scary, because the amount of people available who are, you know, have all sorts of other shit going on becomes a lot more difficult to navigate compared to when you're in your late 20s, early 30s. So I think that's why people look for kind of like those commitments, like, hey, like, is this real? Is it going to be long term? Because I don't want to just kind of fuck around, you know, indefinitely. I think that's why some people as well look to get married. Like, that's a big deal for a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I mean, there's the emotional component.
If you're going to break
100%.
up, like in a dating stage, you're going to break up in a marriage stage as well. Or you're going to have some serious marital problems.
Well, there's probably, but there's more of an investment. There's more of an investment, right? Because you have like all of your stuff is involved with this person. Your life is intertwined with this person. This person has your legal name, right? I mean, you're one entity in terms of like a lot of legal stuff, and it's just that creates a certain level of commitment that makes you more willing to solve problems rather than walk away from the situation.
Well, then that's commitment. I don't see really commitment there. It's kind of like almost like forced, I feel like.
Well, no, it's not forced, because the idea is that both of you want to go together. Like, hey, like, we're ready to go to this next level. So we are going to do things like combining our finances and having joint ownership of property, because we're like at that level in our life where we assume we're going to be together, you know, until both of us, or at least one of us, is dead, I guess.
Dude, I never said that, but to be honest with you, I completely disagree. But I get the point, and like I understand it now. The question.
Yeah, I mean, it's not for everybody. Like, some people just want to fuck around forever, right? Which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah.
It's funny because Canute and I actually got that exact question on the dating/social advice show that we have every Monday, and a big thing that came up actually from chat. Like, the chat was spamming this entire time. You know, when he was asking what's the point, and the entire chat, they were on one thing, and they said taxes. How do you feel about that, Destin? Or anyone else? Dyrus, go ahead. No, please. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Dyrus, please.
I'll say something after.
Okay.
So taxes are important. I would have to go look into the filing married journaling code, but I'm pretty sure, well, I will say if your incomes are very dissimilar, so if one person is earning a lot of money and another person is earning a little bit of money, the tax incentives are definitely there to do it. Holy fuck, you will save a lot of money doing married filing journaling. If both of you are earning similar income, I don't believe that the tax benefits are that much greater. Now, there are other benefits conferred to married couples, you know, like different stuff related to healthcare, access to emergency rooms and whatnot if somebody else is passed out, things like power of attorney and whatnot. I'm not sure if that's granted automatically.
Well, that was a big component of like the gay marriage thing, right? Like, what's the difference between a civil union and a marriage?
Oh, there are a ton of differences.
Well, that was like one of the ones that was always in the conversation was like, you know, being able to see somebody and like power of attorney, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's very big for marriage.
Yeah.
Or sorry, can you just elaborate on, like, if somebody is making a lot of money and the other one's not, like, what's the benefit? Like
sure. So here's the thing. Let's say somebody makes $100,000, and at $100,000 of income, you're taxed at 20. Let's say that you're taxed at. I'm gonna keep the numbers very simple. At 100,000, let's say you're taxed at 10%. At 50,000, let's say it's 5%. At 10,000, let's say it's 1%.
I get it,
right?
yeah.
So let's say somebody's earning 100,000, and another person is earning 10,000, and those people get married. Well, now now they file taxes as one entity. They file married filing jointly, and their joint income is 110,000. However, the taxation rate would scale so that now for married filing jointly, you have to be earning $200,000 to get taxed at 10%. So because they're earning,
doubles.
It kind of, yeah.
It's averaged together.
It doesn't exactly work out dumbly, but yeah, it's
doubles,
kind of like
but
that.
your revenue doesn't double.
Exactly,
right?
yeah, because only one of you is earning. Yeah. So this is why if your incomes are super dissimilar, yeah, you get a lot taxation-wise in terms of married filing jointly. Yeah.
Dyrus, did you want to?
You can also do a thing where, so when people get divorced, they like split half and half, and all that drama shit happens.
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called, but you can do
Prenuptial agreement.
Yeah, you can have that. You can have that too. Whereas if you divorce, and everyone keeps their own shit because that makes sense. Also, another reason for getting married is doesn't even have to be as complicated. It's as simple as you care about a person and it's like, oh, I want to spend the rest of my life with you, marry me, and then the tears fall. It's like, oh my god, we're together forever, and
for the moment.
For the moment. It doesn't even have to be something so complicated. There's a lot of very emotional people out there that care about every little thing.
The titles.
So that would be
but if that exists, then if this prenatal thing exists, right?
Prenuptial.
Okay, whatever. Then right, like let's say you make 500K and the person makes. And you could find someone, right? Hey, you make 50K? Hell yeah! You get married and you pay no tax, like 20 years, and fuck it, they were done. Like
I think so. It's usually like the prenuptial agreements have to do with how much people bring into the marriage, not really what they earn while they are married. That's my understanding of it. And also, it's only for a certain period of time. So usually, like a prenup lasts for like a year, 5 years, maybe 10 years. I think usually like it's 5 years or so, and some of them end up getting thrown out in court too. So I've seen like things about. I don't know how common it is because it's one of those things that like seems really unfair. So people talk about it all the time.
I'd imagine they throw them out in the situation of children, though.
Well, I think it has to do with somebody like gets really fucked in the negotiating process, and a lawyer looks over and is like, "This is simple." It's kind of like the end user license agreement, where like some people think that like if you go to like a NASCAR rally and they've got written on the back of the ticket like if you get hit by a car or some shit, it's not our fault, and then there's like some gross negligence on the part of like NASCAR and you end up getting like fucking killed or some shit or severely injured, they'll throw that out in court. They won't be like, "Dude, you can't like this isn't going to cover your ass." Like no, like so I think similar things can happen with like prenuptial agreements as well if they're written up like very unfair to one party and like a court or judge determines that or something.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely true, and especially like if one person like there have been a few examples that I've heard of where like somebody was like at the end of it they were like required to like pay for somebody's like I think it was like education because that person stayed at home. Yeah, it was just like it's very complicated, and I think there's just so many like moving parts and components to it. It's really hard to break down, but there are ways to kind of separate your wealth and your partner's wealth before you get married, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you know what I've also heard? If you like you have like a child, right?
Uh-huh.
And let's say you're like a family, you make like 500K, right? Like as like a father or something. And so the kid is like used to a certain lifestyle, right? Like they get like new consoles every year, the good clothes and shit. If they divorce, right? And the guy has like pay like a pension, and that's the main thing, that lifestyle. When the kid is like, with the mom or whatever. Does that make sense?
Oh, the child support. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, child support thing. Yeah.
Basically, depending on how much money the guy makes, assuming that the woman gets custody of the child, the guy has to pay a certain percentage of his income. Yeah, that's basically how it works.
I think depending on the state, because in the state of Nebraska, I'm pretty sure the way that it's determined is there is a certain level of financial support that is expected for a child, and then they break it down based on the percentages of what each person's earning. So like if you earn like $1 million, you're not going to be paying like $50,000 a month in child support just because you earn a lot. There's like a maximum expected contribution, I'm pretty sure, to support a child. And then the extra stuff, like the crazy child support shit you hear about, I'm pretty sure that's stuff that's like sued for in civil court, that you've got to go like an extra, like the state isn't just going to mandate.
Yeah.
Also, alimony and child support are two separate things as well, which is important to consider.
Well, of course, alimony has to do with money paid to the wife, and child support has to do with money paid to the wife to pay to the kid.
Sure, yeah.
You can only hope they keep it for the kid, though.
Well, I mean,
use it on other things. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So, getting back to like the meta here, Triax, why do you think that we've seen this type of a decrease?
Oh, well, actually, wait. Before I continue and get to that point, you brought up a very valid thing here, which was like, you know, the fact that that us young people are getting married later because we're pursuing college because of the competitive workforce, and it goes back to that thing you brought up earlier, which was the 07 recession. And I'm taking a small detour here because you brought up a great point. You're right. In 07, literally, I had a terrible time finding a job, and I, like you, literally applied at Walmart to be an overnight stalker just so I can get just so I can like stay on my feet in some fashion. And what's funny story here, actually, I was so depressed. I was like, oh my God, am I really gonna go? Am I going to fucking Walmart, dude? Really? Fuck, dude. So I get there, I suck it up, I remove the ego, I go to Walmart.com, I go to apply, and I'm like, 55 questionnaire for fucking Walmart? Are you serious, dude? Fuck this shit. So I fucking put it off for like a day and a half, and I come back 36 hours later to actually finish it. And I find out, because my mom's cool with the manager at the time who was working at that particular Walmart that I was applying for, that my application got flagged internally because it's a default detection that you didn't finish the application in the same 24 hours, which is an indication that you're not enthusiastic about joining the Walmart workforce. So it's auto flagged to get declined. So
that's so cute.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Blessing in disguise here. So due to that, I ended up never going to Walmart, and then I ended up getting on at Chili's as a waiter, like about 3 weeks later.
I remember filling out an application to Hobby Lobby on an old pizza box while I was playing WoW. Like that was my life in the early 2010s and like the late 2000s. It was so rough. And I think like that's a big reason why people are waiting to get married. Like I really legitimately feel, maybe this is just my own life experience and I'm extrapolating, but I think this has been a huge influence on me and the way that I look at things, right? Like I save money, you know, I look at things. It's like almost like a mini Great Depression. Like my dad would talk about how his parents would want to save money because they grew up in the Great Depression. Maybe it's like a minor thing like that, at least for me personally. I don't know about you guys.
No, I would say the average American is still very financially fucking stupid, unfortunately.
Oh, I would definitely agree.
I think our average, like the average American has like over $6,000 in credit card debt, negative savings credit. Like most people are very bad with it.
Is that median or mean?
I'm pretty sure. I think it's just average.
Wait, so
that's
still, yeah, that's still kind of a lot.
I have a question for you guys. So what don't you think?
Yeah.
Do you think people waiting and postponing marriage contributes to quote-unquote hookup culture?
Yeah, yes. Probably, for sure.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that, though, unless you're like a Jordan Peterson fan.
Do you think it's beneficial, though, to why the divorce rates are declining?
I mean, I think it's like one negative for another, right? Is hookup culture like healthy? Probably not, but our divorces.
Wait, why not?
I think STDs. I mean, that's probably the main reason.
Wait, are STDs actually on the right? And also, can't we protect from STDs anyway?
To an extent, but people obviously don't.
A lot of people.
I don't know if STDs alone like make hookup culture necessarily a bad thing.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
Does hookup culture necessarily like mean STDs?
Well, how do you feel about like kind of if you look at sex as something that's more transactional? Do you consider that a bad thing? Like I don't really have my mind made up on that, and that's another thing, right? Because it's more of a morality argument, and I don't really know where I stand on that personally.
Morality argument, really?
Well, yeah.
Well, it is. It has to do with whether or not you should be having premarital
sex. Like prostitution? Right? Is that what you mean? Transactional?
No one is talking about prostitution.
I'm asking.
Not necessarily transactional, but I think transactional might not have been like the best word to use, but something that's more or less exchanged much more freely, right? And I think that there could be negatives associated with that. Absolutely.
Like what?
Huh? I read the statistics for Norway, and we have the opposite not problem. We have the opposite problem here because our statistics are increasing while less and less people get married, and actually the only people who get married more here is gay people.
Well, why do you think that is?
I have no idea. I just read it right now. I have no idea. Yeah.
Wow.
I had to Google it.
That's funny.
Good cheese.
You don't think there's been like any cultural change or anything like that? It's just kind of happened on its own?
When it comes to gay marriage, I guess it's more not such a taboo right now. Maybe it was more of that before.
Well, I mean, like, just overall, right? Because you said, like, the marriages were declining, right? That's, like, kind of what you're implying?
Yeah, we have no benefits of being married there. It's if we live together, we have the same benefits as if we were married. So there's no benefits of getting married there. Not at all. Nothing.
I guess a piece of paper.
It's just a piece of paper if you don't have any beliefs in it, or any religious reasons to get married. You have nothing to actually get married for.
That's surprising, actually. Like, I would expect it to be something similar to the U.S., but I guess not.
Canute, what were your reasons for not getting married?
Because we broke up.
I mean, besides that, you guys were together for a very, very long period of time. What stopped you?
No, it's fucking expensive to get married for once.
Fuck that.
That's one of the reasons, and we just never did it. We talked about it a lot of times, so it was we could do it back then, but it never happened, and then we broke up. So it was not. Did
you break up because you talked about it?
What?
Did you break up because you talked about it? Or
no, not at all.
Okay.
It's unrelated to that.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it's surprising, actually. Go ahead.
I have no idea why the statistics are like this in Norway. I thought it was this in the whole world, actually. Like, more and more people are breaking up in general. That's more normal now because the marriages were more forced earlier. I'm not sure what.
Well, I mean, like, do you mean like forced or kind of like expected?
Maybe not like forced like we see in Muslim countries, but I mean more forced in a way that you shouldn't break up because that's bad. Expected.
Like how they were in America, kind of. Yeah.
I have a question.
Exactly, yeah.
For when people marry from foreigners from America for the green card, does that count into the statistic? Because I know there's people out there that just do it straight up for the green card.
Okay.
And I guess they break up after or whatever. I don't know how that works.
That's probably a minority.
Very.
Yeah,
how many is
really a small thing?
That's something that like whenever it happens.
Illegal.
Well, it's something that like whenever it happens, you read about it because it's just so rare. Like generally things like that show up on the news, I assume that they're very, very uncommon. Like maybe this is going to happen 1 in 1,000, 1 in 2,000, or maybe even like very, very common, like 1 in 100 or 500.
What if you admit to that? Is that wrong?
Well, it depends on like, I think, I mean, like, it's wrong. Like, I think it's illegal.
It is illegal. If you were to admit that to law enforcement, they'd probably go ahead and take your green card.
Isn't there like a time period where you have to be married for? Like, I don't know if you get divorced for like 25 years or some shit. I doubt they're gonna be like, get the fuck out, you know? Like,
I mean, they can throw you in jail, I believe, for 5 years.
I have no idea.
That might depend on location.
I don't know. I saw this when I was going through Border Patrol, and they're like, fake marriages, thinking of faking a marriage. You can spend 5 years here. And I was like, oh.
Well, I think faking a marriage is very different than doing it with false pretenses. And I don't know if that's like something that's really defined or not, but I do think there's a difference there.
Okay.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that there has been, I don't really know, like kind of, and this could be like too big of a topic to talk about, but I think that people that are like more, I guess, like traditional and, you know, promote more traditional values might be like a tangential influence on why more people are staying married. I think probably the biggest example of that I could use is like Jordan Peterson, for example. And I'm not saying that like I'm agreeing with him or anything, but people that promote that kind of thing and the fact that he is popular and people like that are popular might lead into this like cultural change.
Wait, are we going back to traditional conservative values?
Well, not. I mean, like, I think conservative values is something that's a little bit different, but traditional values in the sense of,
well, no, Jordan Peterson is very explicitly a tradcon, very traditional conservative.
Oh no, I agree with you, and what I'm saying is, what do people take away from that? Do they take away the conservative part too? Probably, but I think that just a traditional component of it is much more common of a takeaway than also the conservative component.
I have like a sort of like weird question. I feel like it's kind of dog shit. Like I feel like I have to ask. You know, like the hookup culture type shit, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it's something that everyone sort of has like in the back of their mind a little bit, like not like an urge, but like they think about it, right? And if they do it early, then they're not gonna do it later, or you know, like how's that whole thing work? You think?
Wait, what?
What he's asking is
you hit puberty and you just want to hump.
What he's asking, I believe what he's asking is like, is it like a phase? Is it a phase that everyone goes through, or is it something that everyone thinks about? And once they go through it young, they don't go through it old. Or if they don't go through it young, they're gonna go through it old. Or they're like, is it a phase that's gone through? Is it something?
Yeah. Okay. Out of the blue, let's say that you've never fucked around ever, right? You never like had like a bunch of partners and shit, and just like juggle them and shit, right? And you get married kind of early. You only had one partner. You only like touch like. Sorry for the language. You only like touch one pair of tits or whatever. And then after like 50 years, like dude. 50 years, I only touched one pair of tits, and maybe you'll fuck, dude. I kind of want to explore. I feel cheated. Not cheated, like I could see that happening.
Midlife crisis. No, it definitely does. It's not even a midlife crisis. There are people that are in single relationships and they don't even make it 50 years. They might get into their 30s and then they start having thoughts where it's like, fuck, I've only been together with one person my entire life. Now I kind of wonder if I might have missed out on some other experiences. Yeah, for sure.
And
I think it's actually very common, especially for people that like. It's also maybe an example of like people that the grass is always greener on the other side. So somebody who's really into hookup culture wishes that they had like that one person that they can just be with all the time, and they feel like they missed out on that. And then people that have that one person that they've just been with all the time, they feel like they missed out on having all those other experiences too, and that's probably what it is.
Not for me and Canute.
Is that right?
Well, actually, I still haven't finished reading this off here. If you want me to continue.
Yes, please do.
So we covered so far here that boomers divorce higher, young people are on average more educated and waiting longer to get married because they are getting educated to advance their careers. That's why it's feeding each other here, literally here. Marriage rate is falling. And finally here, the poor and less educated of the last decade are not getting married at all. Now, it's obviously why are all these things happening here, right? Why are the poor and or less educated not getting married as often?
That builds into my assumption.
That it's a costing now. I don't know if that one of many reasons that could be estimated here, and this is where I'm stop reading the facts, I'm going on to speculation now, is that marriage is expensive. If you're, and obviously I'm speaking from the bias of being in the South. If you're in the South, you're in Louisiana, Texas, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida. Debatably, I don't know how southern you want to call Florida with like the southern, but like marriages and weddings, they gotta be big. You gotta have the family there. My family would kill me if I had anything less than some big southern wedding with a whole family there and whatnot. So weddings could be comparable to funeral costs at times. I've even heard some say, $10K for a wedding is modest. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's modest?
Really?
Are you kidding me?
So the average cost for a wedding in the U.S. in 2017 was a little bit over $25,000.
Oh, yeah.
That is
I would have expected 14.
Dude, it is actually insane, dude. But wedding people wedding planners make a killing, photographers make a killing. It is insane,
as a musician, your dream gigs were playing at weddings because that shit was like easy fucking work. You'd be getting paid like $150 an hour. It was some insane fucking shit. You could bill out the ass for that stuff.
Dude, fuck that. Also, just sign the document. Exactly. Let's go to Chuck E. Cheese, dude.
No, remember.
Yeah, but the problem is there's so much cultural pressure applied to getting married that you say that, But how is that going to look to everybody? You know, it almost delegitimizes your relationship in the eyes of your friends and family.
And I agree.
That's true.
That's the whole thing here. It's about getting married. It's about having the experience. Like there's no way shying out of that. It's got to be a grand wedding. Like
what you said is actually very true. It's kind of funny because in a very roundabout way, I've had a lot of arguments related to marriage in the past with some very fucking stupid conservatives. But the idea that getting married, like a lot of people look at marriage and wealth and it kind of looks like, well, you know, if you want to be wealthy, you can just get married because wealthy people tend to be married. But there's actually so much data on the idea that in order to get married, firstly, you already kind of need to be wealthy. And you could even like hop on Google and like Google like marriage rich or marriage wealth, and you see
circular logic.
Yeah, kind of. Increasingly, basically, people don't make the choice to get married until they're already financially stable. Like people very much desire financial stability before they enter into like marriage contracts. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then even like that's even kind of like rational because like like if you're going after your master's or if you like are just finishing your 4-year, like the last thing on your mind is like, all right, I'm 23, I'm just getting into work, time to get married. Like holy shit, you've got like $80,000 of student loan debt. Like your life is like just started. Like holy shit, yeah.
Time to slam 25K on a fucking event.
Yeah, so it's costly, all right.
Mm-hmm.
So just to recap here again, so boomers get divorced. If you're people are waiting longer to get married, and they're on average getting more educated alongside that journey instead of pursuing their career and whatnot. And then finally here, if you're poor or less educated, you, in my opinion, you can't afford it regardless. It's another like burden that you can't even like consider at this point. So that goes back to all of us here now, which is like, you know, now we can open the floor here. Well, what's your stance? What's your view on marriage? When do you envision yourself even being considerable for such? And am I alone here in that I obviously want to perfect and pursue the best self I can be before I would even consider marriage? Like I make sure that I'm satisfied because now it's beyond just, you know, me fulfilling my goal of happiness. Is now making us, the couple, happy. So I'm still a young idiot who's like, I'm a marriage right now? Are you kidding me?
Let's start with
how old are you, Try?
29.
Yeah, I was just. And have you been in long relationships?
Me?
Yeah.
No, actually, no. I believe it or not, I'm in my first serious one ever. Actually, going on 3 years now.
Congratulations. Wow.
Yeah, it was. I had a very rocky journey, though. Honestly.
Okay, just to set the fucking concrete. Let's just say, how long have you guys been in your max longest relationship? So we can know like who's talking.
So we're gonna start with that. Dyrus, what about you? Longest relationship.
5 years.
Asmongold?
God damn, dude.
Wow, yeah, that's up there.
Asmon?
Less than a year.
Destiny?
I know, it's a big surprise.
I think with my wife, I think it was like 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
JCG?
3 years with a female in high school.
Wow. XQC?
Wow. 4.
Canute?
7.
Wow.
Wow.
Poke?
Wow.
6 months.
Yeah, this guy, dude.
Jenna?
I mean, it was like a year on and off, so it may have been less.
And Trihex, you're at 3, right?
Wait, weren't you? Well, I'm sorry, girl over there, but
technically 2.5, but it'll be 3 in January.
Wait, weren't you married before?
No, one's been married.
Earlier, I just turned 20 and barely know.
Earlier I thought you said a husband or some shit.
The fuck am I getting married for?
I thought you said my husband turned out that he was gay.
Oh no, my aunt's husband turned out to be gay.
Uncle.
I'm at 2.5 years. 2.5 years. That's my longest.
Oh, because I was reading chat, people said she turned him gay.
Okay, dude. All right, so let's go back to Trix's question, where everyone stands on marriage and, you know, where they are themselves, right? Like, if it's only you that wants to perfect yourself before you, you know, give yourself to somebody like that and, you know, set it in stone with marriage. Dyrus, let's start with you over there. Do you think it's something you would jump into? You'd find someone you jump into, or you know, where are you right now with how, you know, where are you in your current life? Is this something you jump into now? Are you looking for it now, or, you know, do you want to live? You know, you want to live and enjoy your glory years, or are you ready?
Well, fuck, dude. I'm very apathetic. I don't give a fuck about a lot of shit. I just want to stay home and play video games. But in terms of my current relationship, I've been living with my girlfriend for about 2 years, I think. I lost track, but I mean, it's just been chill. I'm just trying to like live life and try to make sure I'm good for the future so I can stay home and be a lazy bastard for the rest of my life.
Fact.
That's the dream.
I like that a lot. I actually like that because that's, you know, I'll say my opinion on it after. Asmongold, you?
We'll see what happens. Like, I mean, like, the way that I look at that is that if you're in a position to get married, you're just going to know it. And that's the way that I see it. I'm not like actively working towards that like right now, but we'll see what happens.
Interesting. Destiny, what about you?
I'm MGTOW. I don't believe in marriage, okay?
What's MGTOW?
Men going their own way. Yeah. We've evolved beyond the need for women. We realize how obsolete they are. How much
also,
they lead
you know,
to the
they've
destruction
created
of male life.
this entire social system that controls men's actions and everything that they do. Yep, 100%.
Are you
Slightly trolling. I mean, if it happens again, it'll happen. But it's not like I don't like. My life isn't geared towards like I need to acquire a wife as quickly as possible. I mean, if it happens, it happens. But I'm open to it.
JCG?
I've talked about this in my stream all the time. I don't want to get married. I don't want to do all that stuff because I just worry about divorce so much. I would think it'd be cool for like a cute like little promise ring or something like that, but you don't have to go crazy. Don't worry about that stuff. Like as long as we're together, as long as we know we're together, we don't have to get married. If he wants to, maybe. If she wants to, maybe. But yeah, I'm not really. I don't really care about that. But I do want kids.
How about you, XQC?
I guess it's like taste in food and like sushi and stuff. Like it develops over the years or whatever. You see like the interest and the need for it later. But we're not. I don't feel like it's like even close at all. Like I can't see the point in it at all. You guys are bringing out like today's conversation like kind of opened my eyes to the things that are possible to like why you would want it. But like I just don't see it.
Interesting. Canute?
I don't feel the need to get a wife or marry a girl, but if I see that this is the relationship I want to have for the rest of my life, like I did at some point, I would say yes if she wanted to get married. Because as we said here in Norway, it's not, you don't, it's if you just look at it, it's just a piece of paper anyway. So it's no hassle getting married there, but it's not important for me anymore. No, or it's never been actually.
Okay.
I feel like that's more here in Norway. It's more like a girl saying they're dreaming about going walking the aisle.
Yeah, I think it's. I can agree with that. Poke, what about you, brother? My best friend.
If I find someone that the same like Canute, if it's something that she'd want, and it's a long after a long time down, but same like Dyrus, I don't really care. Just wanna...
As long as you don't do it before or during the Black Ops hype, I don't mind. Just keep that.
I agree with
keep that for me, dude. Me and you're going ham when that drops. Jenna.
I'd like to get married one day. I would. Mostly for just like the endearments, not for the financial benefits. I think it's endearing. I can't imagine doing an extravagant wedding. I'd want something simple, small, cute, quick and done, and just something, I don't know. I see marriage as a sign of love, and it's not really seen as that anymore, but I see it as that. Yeah, that's something I'd want to do one day. Yes.
Are you ready now?
Hell no. Give me 10 years.
Do you want to get like one of those? Like...
I just turned 20. Give me 10 years.
X, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask if she wanted like the ring, like the big deal, like the chest, like the huge diamond or like the big stone, right? No.
No, I wouldn't mind if someone just got me a little artsy amethyst ring that's sterling silver, $50 from a alternative store, and those are so pretty. I wouldn't mind that. That'd be awesome.
From Hot Topic?
No, you can go to like these really pretty shops that have just stones, and you can get them on a simple ring, and they're beautiful.
It's called a setting, I believe.
I'm not sure.
Asmongold, did you just are you gonna get your girl something from Hot Topic? Was that a foreshadowing right there?
And there's a lot of interesting things there.
There is. I actually, you know, everyone's gonna ha-ha me here, but I actually buy my Rick and Morty shirts from there. But anyways, okay, excellent.
The first and last time I was off was when I was 12 and some dude bought a sex doll in front of me, and we made direct eye contact as he was purchasing the sex doll.
That's cute.
Sounds about right. Sounds about, yeah. Sounds like a
As for
typical
me,
topic.
well, try. Do you want to add anything to what you said already?
Oh, yeah. So, if you don't mind, yeah, I
do mind, asshole. No, go ahead.
My God.
I gotta play it as much as I can, dude. Yeah.
Yeah. Whenever marriage to me doesn't feel like this, like another burden. To me, it feels like a freaking standardized test or like some big. Unfortunate assignment that I have to do eventually. It's like, the wedding, dude. I gotta plan it. I gotta finance it. I gotta figure it out. It just feels like another burden that I don't even like want to deal with. Like buying another house or whatever. Like here comes the 18 or 80 pages of paperwork and all. Like, to me, it feels like work, like unneeded work and stress. And whenever that day comes, wherever I feel that that's not the case, I don't look at it like a giant burden of time and resources sunk into this bullshit event that I got to put on for everybody else. Like, I don't see myself enjoying the wedding. It's like I have to help plan the wedding, finance the wedding, get all this shit together. Ugh. So maybe one day when that happens, or when I don't feel that way about it, I'd be more open to the idea of it eventually. But in a world right now where I can't even figure out, like, what am I doing with streaming in the next 5 years, much less 10 years? I can't even look at marriage because it's tethered to my career, because I'm one of these goddamn millennials who's like, sorry, man, I got to get the career and the money correct before I do the marriage first. And right now, the career and the money are on streaming, and the streaming thing is very unstable because I don't know, I can't even figure out the 5-year long-term plan right now, that whole thing.
That's what you're saying is so, like, it's so familiar for me. I've explained that so many times to people I'm close to. And, you know, when you're not a streamer, you know, you can't really understand that, you know? So it's hard to, but like both you and Dyrus said exactly what I've been so familiar with, what I've been trying to express myself. So I'm in the same boat right there. Like exactly what you and Dyrus said on that topic is where I'm at. And on top of that,
Fix the mic.
Is my mic bad?
Yeah, the mic is really low, and apparently one-sided or something like that.
Hello.
Actually, you sound fine to me.
Oh yeah, if you just speak louder into it, maybe that'll fix it.
As I was saying, hello, 1 2 3, echo 1, 3636. Hello.
Still sound fine to me.
Fine to you guys?
You sound fine to me. Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, the point. I'll just continue, guys. I see it. I get it. Hold on. Give me a sec. Hello.
Hi.
Oh my God. It must be something here. Give me a sec here.
Trix, I was about to say just let your wife plan it forehead, but
hello.
Okay.
I think it's
There's a good break. There's a good break, Trainwreckstv. I love you. I gotta sleep. I gotta wake up fucking early tomorrow. Okay.
See you, Des. Love you, dude.
I love you.
Bye, Des.
Nice meeting you.
Bye, Des.
Nice meeting you.
Peace.
Yeah, dude.
Love you. Nice Cuban shirt. Fuck her.
That picture of him getting off is so creepy for me.
No.
Do you see that picture?
Oh God, that picture.
Dude, that's like I'm watching you.
Oh my goodness.
He looks like a Hollywood actor.
No, anyways.
Yeah, let my wife plan a forehead, right?
A mirror.
Well, hold on.
You know, it's funny because there's a great statistic here. I think that I have to find it, so I might be winging here a little bit. But the average American female plans their wedding, what was it, like 2 years in advance, and like every other planned event, like whether it be like your financial goal planning or just anything else, not even close. Like it's like this is like over 2 years in advance. Anything else is like at most a month in advance when it comes to like pre-planning an event of a particular type. I forget the statistic exactly here, but like it's crazy how culturally important marriage is compared to everything else. Like. Ask people what are they saving up for long term. You know, what are you like? Do you have a 401k? Do you have a savings goal or plan whatsoever? Do you have an economic plan at all? And it's like, and it could be more representative of the dire job market where it's like, you know, yeah, I work at fucking Starbucks and Barnes & Nobles. I make, you know, $9 an hour at both. You know, fuck me.
And to add to that, it also takes a huge level, which ties into what you're saying, a huge level of maturity. And with that being said, it's like being ready. You know, like I'm not ready to. Like marriage, it's not only a responsibility of self, it's a responsibility of who you're marrying, right? Like you have to allocate attention, time, schedule opening. You can't sleep in when you want. You can't do this. There's a lot of things going on. You're dealing with another human being, right? For me, I'm still in a place where I want to wake up whenever I want. I want a game. If Black Ops comes out, I want to go 3 days, no sleep. I don't want to give any attention to anyone. I just want to play the game. Chat's going to cap me when I say I want to be good, but I want to be good at that game. I'm going in, I'm going pro. Me, Poke, Overpowered, Dyrus, we're going in, dude. Like, it's happening. My boy Calvin over there, Calvin's down to play. Aimbot Calvin coming in, dude. Name dropping right there. I'm playing Asmongold. We're going in. It comes out the 12th of October. I'm going in 72 hours, no sleep, dude. I saw XQZ playing the game, dude. His aim is somewhat similar to mine, but hey, we have hope, X. I'm telling you, the game's good. The game's good, dude.
I'll play it on release with you guys, 100%.
It's the best game ever. I'm in love with it. I would give up my left nut, fry it, and eat it myself.
Than PubG?
It is. It is better than PUBG.
Oh,
It's the best. It's everything. It's everything to me.
Better than
I'm going in. I will take any stream cut I need to play that game. It's just such a good game for me. But yeah, I'm not ready to commit like that. Like, I want at least another 5 to 10 years of freedom. Because realistically, you can't look at it as, oh, well, if you love her, it's not this. It's still freedom. No, there is a binding to it. There is a binding, right? And the binding is being an adult and making the decisions you need to support the person you're marrying. Right? This whole idea that when you get married, if you love the person, then it's like not being married. That's not true at all. Like, I really don't believe that's true. I believe when you get married, there's a whole new set of responsibilities and awarenesses you have to include in your daily life.
I feel like that differs per person because they could be the same way in terms of, like, maybe they love video games too and they don't really want to do anything. I feel like you're kind of setting like a lot of I feel like we're setting a lot of standards here, but in the reality, there's only so much stuff we have to do.
Well, if we're assuming that we're dating a gamer, like gamer dating gamer might be easier because you both might be streamers, you both might be gaming all day, you both have you both have the lifestyle to sleep whenever, wake up late, you have a Discord crew you all hang out with. Like, it's way more relatable and alike, so your schedules might be on the same, right? But if your girlfriend's waking up at 8 a.m. and going to her job, and then you have yours, and then she wants time at 5 p.m., but you're waking up at 5 p.m., and she wants, she gets off work at 5 and she wants to hang out, but you wake up at 5 and you want to game, there's a huge thing that comes into place. So maybe dating gamer and gamer is much easier, but when it comes to like actual real world, I think that there's a big gap. I believe, at least. I might be wrong, but that's kind of my experience.
No, I can agree with that. I'm just saying that it would differ for some other people.
I agree. I
agree.
I can see where you're coming from.
What you're saying.
I can see where you're coming from as well.
I tried to date someone that was not into games as much. He was actually a police officer. And it eventually got to the point where it became very toxic, and he would just be like, oh, well, you got to sit at home all day and play games and get paid, and it eventually got toxic. It was like, okay, like, I still get shit on all the time. Like, but he's also a police officer, so maybe this isn't a good example, but like, I definitely think that it just doesn't work. I personally don't think it does. Having someone who, actually has to get up and leave the house to go do their work compared to us where we can stay at home and do it. I definitely think it can fuck shit up.
I don't want to cut her off, but I still do it.
No, go ahead, dude.
No, I don't want to cut her off. Oh, you, it's fine. No, I'm kidding. But it's like it's like I feel like there's this sort of some people have maybe the same or whatever that people say, oh, these streamers, dude, they sit around and get paid to play games. I think there's more to it. It's different than that. I think there's more to it. Building community, being engaging, caring about things, planning things ahead, playing a new game, like setting up the thing. I don't personally see it as like a job, but I see 100% how someone could see it as a job 100%, right? And I think if your partner or someone you're involved with cares enough or is committed enough, he would take the time to sit down and understand what you do, and he would understand that it's not that it actually is a job.
That's so smart.
Yeah, but I have a question for all of you. It sounds like, because a few of you have been in longer relationships, and it sounds like you think the marriage will change the relationship. Is that right? Because I think the relationship will be exactly the same before and after marriage. It's just
Oh, I don't know. I think that there's a certain component of investment, right? Because after you're married to somebody, you have your financials connected, and you've like literally invested more into that person. So the chances of you breaking up over something that's small, I think the only logical conclusion is that they would be smaller, right? Is that you'd be more willing to work them out.
Okay, so there's the difference between Norway and US because we can share finances. We can share finances just living together, the same way as we can do in a marriage.
Okay,
there's no.
So there's literally no difference at all.
Yeah, if you don't write any papers, you will maybe have to split some of the money if you're having. If you have a lot more, but I think all people make their standards agreements that if you have a lot of money into the relationship, you're keeping the money when the marriage is over. So I think that's pretty standard.
Yo, have you ever done any like narration or like acting or something somewhere? Your voice is like, it just tells me something. I think I've heard it before.
No, I don't think so. I know I haven't. Not at all.
Okay.
Well, actually, now that you guys brought that up here, I have a great interjection to further add in here. I read a while back here, again, no citation, so I apologize in advance here, but have you guys ever heard about this thing called the 7-year theory about generally it's this idea that if a relationship, not necessarily a marriage, but a relationship can make it past 7 years, that generally it can go on to long term. If you haven't heard about it, I'll explain it for you guys real quick here. The idea is that whenever you're in a relationship and whatnot, the first 2 years, there are 3 phases. The first 2 years are when you're both being pretty around each other. You suck in the gut, you don't fart around her, vice versa, etc. You know, you generally put on the facade of your best you 24/7 because you don't feel comfortable showing your true self. And
May I interject for a second?
Sure.
Thank you. Before you finish that, I believe we talked about this, not this, but the part of when you open up and you let down that, that front. And I think 2 years is a little too long. I think it's like 6 months to a year, I believe. From all my experiences, 6 months to a year. I think 2 years is a little too long, and it's a little yikes, I think, to hold it in that long. So I just wanted to go in on that one. And I think
you may not necessarily be living together.
I also feel like if you genuinely like the person, your relationship is going to go on to last 7 years. You're going to be comfortable with them faster than 2 years.
Okay.
Well, yeah, just continue your point. Continue your point.
Yeah. So one thing you're assuming here is that like when you're together does not mean you're physically living together yet. So you imagine, if you're talking and y'all are in separate apartments or whatever, and then within a year or 8 months, then you live together. Then you're gonna get to that point where within the 2 years you make this happen anyway. But to continue on, first 2 years you put on your pretty self and whatnot. Then years 3 and 4, the next phase 2, you let the gut hang. You let something come out. You finally admit, oh yeah, you play video games all day anyway. That's why me, the police officer, you don't get my day. I'm stressed out and whatnot. You let out your actual native thoughts, and they're not polished or pretty. They're the raw negative that's going to spew arguments and whatnot. And it's that happening. And then finally, years 5 and 6 are reacting to years 3 and 4, where those real thoughts are how you feel, huh? Here's how I really fucking feel about shit. And then that happens. And then at that point, when you were both revealed who your true selves are, and you both have reacted to who your true selves are, at that point, all the dirt's on the table. You both know each other's mannerisms and bullshit and baggage and whatever you want to classify all those things as. And then if you're still okay with it, or you've both have changed to accommodate each other's taste and needs and whatnot, year 7 onward, for the most part, you're good. That's the theory, though. I'm not saying this is what I think.
That's deep.
No, it's pretty close. It's pretty scary. Yeah, I agree with that theory so far.
Yeah, and you can debate the time, but like the 3 phases are the takeaway here. But the idea is that 7 years is the reality.
Yeah, maybe not.
I was about to say exactly the same as you, that the time I think that will be different on what people you're talking about and how old they are and everything, but I think it's mostly can be a
applied
right theory.
Yeah, applied to all relationships. I agree with that.
Yeah.
I do agree with that.
Awesome. Well, if we're good on the marriage one here, actually, a small thing because Train, you brought up earlier that you're hyped for what is it? You're hyped for Black Ops 4. Is that correct? The new Call of Duty.
Oh, dude, like you have no to answer your question very longly, dude.
Very longly, please.
Very longly, dude. Oh man, dude, like right now, dude, you could put and listen, chat. They may not be able to feel me on this, but you could put. You know what? Yes, I am so wow. Like it is wow. Like I'm yes.
W Omega Law W.
Then get prepared then log in Aim Hero every once in a while and practice with it, and then log in the Ring of Elysium or whatever that fucking game is, and get good with the mechanics and the movement and the fucking.
Yeah, before Overwatch came out, I played a bunch of aim boosts.
Wait, really? Oh, dude. See, thank you both of you. See, I'm telling you, I'm gonna surprise the world. Listen, I get Trainwreck, I get it, dude. I get it, but listen, I'm coming in. My sniper, dude. You give me that Titan, dude, or the Paladin. The Paladin. Whew, listen. Screw the 4 times. Screw the sniper scope. Give me a 3x. I don't need a 4x. Give me a 3x.
Can we talk about me and Trainwreck's performance at the $300K tournament for PubG?
Yeah, that was a good tournament performance, dude. That was a good tournament performance Poke and I had. I think, we got unlucky. It was, to say the least, we got unlucky.
Did you guys shoot each other?
No, the first game of the tournament we lost because me and him were alt tabbed.
we alt tabbed, and apparently in PubG you can't alt tab, otherwise it doesn't connect you, and it disconnects you from the tournament server. So we couldn't. We got disqualified from the first game for alt tabbing. That's PubG for you.
Optimization, Omega lol.
Yeah.
Yikes.
But anyways, back to Triax's question. Yes, I'm excited for Black Ops 4.
Awesome. Because so to completely derail off of Black Ops 4, a fun fact I found out actually this week here. Did y'all know that PubG is a top 15 video game seller of all time by pure units sold? Yeah. Excluding free to play?
Because of China and shit.
Yeah, I didn't know, but dude, the numbers, 40 million sold worldwide.
Well, you know why there's so many sold copies is those are all the hackers that are buying new copies so they can continue hacking in the game.
He's trolling Triax. Continue.
No, this is where
I probably think that's a factor.
Yeah, I don't even know
hackers.
Yeah, the cheaters.
I don't know much about PUBG other than the fact that obviously the engine was not very optimized, and they chose the short-term profit monetization route with getting the Microsoft Xbox One deal rather than I don't know, pursuing something grand like expanding the workforce and getting the engine fixed so it can be a not buggy, resource-heavy, hoggy fucking mess and whatnot. Again, this is the reception I've heard so far. I could be wrong. I'd love to hear more if I am incorrect here. So just hearing that game with how optimized or their lack of it was for such a long period of time, get to 40 million sold worldwide and crack the top 15, where no Call of Duty has ever before, by the way. It's kind of insane. I don't know, or at least to me, it seems insane. I would love to hear more if you guys know more.
PUBG was had the most players online at the same time ever in 2017. With no game could even compete with it. Dota 2 was second, I think, and I don't remember the numbers, but I think it was 3 times as much as any game ever had the same time.
It's beating Fortnite.
Did they or did they not pass Dota 2 downloads on Steam?
Fortnite wasn't released yet.
No, I know. I'm sorry.
I'm telling you guys, it's I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's because of China and Korea, where these games are huge hits, like PC bongs and shit, like the big deal, right? Where a lot of people were quitting a lot of other games that were being pro in, and they went to PUBG Pro because they thought this team was going to be big, and it's huge numbers.
A good way to determine what game will be popular or big is what's being played in Korean lands. Pretty much.
Yeah, their numbers are so blown up. Like, for example, I was playing PUBG with this guy named Lion KK. And he, Twitch is banned in China, and they have their own site. It's gg.com/something, and he's sitting there casually. I mean, he's one of the best players in China, so I don't know if this is an everyone thing, but he was sitting there at 570,000 live viewers watching him play. So I think they're max. And he gets that daily, right? Like for us, a 500K stream was like, holy fuck, that's a record. Drake's on, Ninja's there with Drake. Like for him, it's just an everyday thing. He logs on 570K. So I think in China it's just a huge number pattern for everything. So yeah,
also bots. But you're right. I didn't want to cut you off again. Fuck.
No, you're good. So I can see where you're coming from. I was just proving your point.
Yeah, I just think also in China, there's a big problem and a big like gimmick of like bots. I know a lot of tournament viewerships statistics get skewed with. That's why it misleads everyone because they mix the NA viewership and the Chinese viewership, and the Chinese viewership is botted the fuck out.
Interesting.
Oh, we smart.
Wow. Okay.
By who?
Athene. Oh, sorry. Continue.
Yeah, no, I think it's just it's not a gimmick, but it's just something that they do. It's extremely prominent on their websites where people just bot really hard, and yeah, it makes like the viewerships go up, obviously. But, yeah, you can continue on. What were you talking about? Yeah.
Well, that was the entirety of what I had here. That was kind of an open point. I just thought that was a particularly fascinating topic y'all would know more about with PUBG and whatnot.
Can I be honest? I saw the other day, I was streaming Overwatch and I went to the directory just for fun. And we went down the list when I was ending, and PUBG was at like 6K viewers total.
Dude, right? H1Z1 was at 1,000.
Yeah.
Damn.
A lot.
And then when Black Ops comes out, Blackout is in PUBG that's better in every single way, shape, or form, and adds more on top of that. So I don't see anyone sticking around for PUBG at all. Being a paid game against a paid game, there's a direct upgrade. It's more fluid, more sharp, more responsive, more rewarding. The controls.
PUBG is a piece of shit game. Like
shit.
Train and I have probably played PUBG together for like 50, 100 hours.
Yeah, a lot.
Like it just getting shot through the wall, like getting disconnected, your parachute not working. Everything about that game is wrong. Yeah. There was the latency problems. Everything
falling
about
to the ground.
Dude, it's like it's built on like a dog shit engine, right? That just stands on like a bunch of like pile of wood that it cracks and then they add like a pile on top of that, and they add like concrete, wood, houses, right? It's like the structure is just so dog shit, right? Yeah. And it just gets worse and worse. It's just spaghetti code, and it never gets fixed.
What really turns me off about any game that this happens to, which I know it's hard to stop, but like games like, Blizzard games, usually this never happens in. But when there's an excessive amount of cheating, it really makes me lose like a certain like trust in the authenticity of the game, like integrity. Thank you. It really sucks. It really sucks, and that's a problem I don't think we're gonna see in Call of Duty. That's one thing Blizzard does really well. They really do really well in. Like the last time I heard of a Blizzard game being hacked in was probably back in Diablo 2 and Diablo Open BattleNet days. Like that's the last time I think I've heard of it. I may be out of the loop, but that's the last time I've heard of Blizzard games. So that's the one bonus of Blizzard. But like I said, PUBG, this whole thing with hackers and the speeders going through. Oh, speeder, that's a good word for you, X. Speeders, mocksters. Sorry, I just love that shit. Anyways, yeah, it makes me lose an integrity 100%. So, or lose it, whatever. You get my point.
I played a shitload of PUBG, like hundreds of hours, and I did not see that much hacking in comparison to the H1Z1
When did you
days.
play?
Well, there's no way.
My first game I got hacked.
I played on release, and I really didn't come across that much dumb stuff.
Okay. I have a question.
Maybe I was really lucky.
Hey, I know.
Rare.
Go, dude.
No, I guess this whole discussion. How do you check if someone's hacking or not? How would you know?
Okay, so they're not looking at you and you die.
One, in H1Z1, this was pretty common. Silent shot that came out of nowhere and will KO you. Completely silent, nothing. It'll be random. Teleportation's pretty common. They'll come to your loot really quick by teleporting the fuck out. What else do they do?
Okay, I'm just saying, like, in a game like Overwatch, like, the kill cams are super accurate and extremely, like, if I did something like that, you'll say...
Let me give you an example, okay? Because I know what you're going to say. Here's an example. There was one time, there was this guy that I was like running up on, and he turned around and he had his cursor and like his crosshairs exactly on where I was going to come up over the hill. There's no way that he could have known that without being seeing it. Also, there was another time I was in a firefight with a guy that was pre-shooting as soon as he could see like where I was moving, right?
Yeah.
And he was doing this, and you could also see in the kill cam at that point what scope somebody was using. And this person was using iron sights, and they were out-scoping me with like whenever I had a 4X. Like, I'm not a god at the game, but I'm not that bad either. There's no way he would, and he headshot me like two or three times in a row. The guy is not that good, and if he was that good, he'd have something better than iron sights. So it's very clear that there are people that are cheating. Now, the issue really is what Tyler was saying, is whenever you have people that are cheating in the game, it diminishes the entire integrity of the game, and it makes you think that whenever you get killed, how do I know that this was legitimate? And I think that's the worst feeling ever.
I feel like you never reach that. Like, it's very hard to reach that point where you can really say someone's hacking or not. It's super hard because, like you said, the guy like cross-aired you like across the map. These things are very obvious. They're kind of like rudimentary cheats that are kind of got like complete dog shit. But there's a lot of things like pixel aimbotting and things that purposely make it like not seem, and things that work with colors, right? So he's not gonna see you across the wall, right? But he's gonna go instead with colors instead, right? Like red and shit, and it just makes it harder. So I think even in CS:GO, I'm sure a lot of pros cheat. Imagine in a big esports, people getting away with cheating on a stage. And I'm pretty sure it still happens. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it still happens.
Dude, I hear so much shit in Overwatch. I hear like there's a lot of contenders players who hack.
A lot of them cheat.
I heard there's even one or two even in Overwatch League. There's like a good rumor.
The security isn't that good.
Script.
There's a lot of ways they do it now. There's like one also hack where it's like when you're aiming on someone, it will reduce your DPI on your mouse to like very low or something. So it's just a lot of shit.
But yeah, you were right about like the thing. Like it sucks playing a game that you don't trust. And you don't trust the tick rate, the server location, the fairness of it. It sucks when you feel like there's a lot of entities that you can't control that are affecting your core gameplay. That really sucks.
Yeah, the tick rate was something that was effective in PUBG. Like that was.
Oh, that's garbage. What are we running on? Like 20 tick, 40 ticks?
It was like 25 or something. Like it was really bad. Like
that's unplayable.
PUBG is an example of doing everything wrong and still somehow succeeding.
Because there was nothing better, to be honest. I feel like
Yeah. It just it also destroys the risk and it destroys the reward feeling, right? Like when you win, it's not as rewarding as thinking there's cheaters in the game, or not individually winning, but like just thinking of the overall putting your time in a game where there's cheaters. It's not great winning in a game, right? I feel like cheaters discredit games integrity, which doesn't give me motivation to play anymore. So that's why I'm really excited for Call of Duty, and I'm really happy that game's coming out. And
people are saying
actually, I have a question for Mr. Trihex over here.
Oh,
as we brought this up earlier, but we waited for you to come. What do you think of Bowsette?
Oh, I think
she didn't know who she was till.
I had no idea.
I don't know what that is either.
But I see someone asking in the chat to ask you, so what do you think about it?
It was my topic, and I was gonna wait for you to come on, but I didn't know if you were gonna come on.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Clarification, by the way. The reason I was tardy was because my internet had a random maintenance period. I don't know, it was like an hour of bullshit. So
don't worry,
right when I was gonna join.
I backed you up. Don't worry. I said it like 1,000 times.
Yeah. So sorry about that, y'all. I wouldn't miss for the world. So my take on Bowsette. Have you already clarified what it is exactly?
You can read, right?
I don't know what it is. I'm googling.
Well, so I did a really great, great encompassing tweet that kind of would explain for anyone if you have no clue of all the context here. I got you totally covered. Some pictures here may help a little bit, but I'll just go ahead and link it. I'm just gonna spam it in your chat, Train.
Sure, go ahead, brother.
All right. So there you go. So, there was a game in 2012 called New Super Mario Bros. U that came out. It's the 2D. It's like the new 2.5D Mario game that came out that you're a traditional 2D platformer in. Well, it got announced to get a port for Switch, Nintendo Switch, coming out this January, called New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe. And this one, because the game was already made in 2012, and in that game you play as Mario, you rescue Peach and Bowser. The cutscenes are already made and everything else. and they wanted to add new content, but there's not really a great way to do that without like changing the story or adding new cutscene bullshit. So they made this new awkward thing, because you can play as the Toads, you know, the little mushroom people that assist Peach. You can play as the Toads alongside Mario. They run faster, but they don't jump as high as Mario does. So they have like a different like physics traits and whatnot. But anyways, though, they wanted to add Peach in there, but they can't have Peach go into the castle rescuing Peach. That makes no sense, right? That makes like a narrative, illogical, whatever bullshit thing. So they have this new
time-space continuum.
Time-space continuum, exactly right. So they have this new item called the Super Crown, where whenever Toadette puts on the crown, she becomes Peachette, and it's literally Peach, but now with the iconic Toadette pigtails and a mushroom decal dress rather than Peach's traditional dress, and it makes no fucking sense. Like, what? Huh? Okay. So. And then so that's what happens. That's the whole context there of what Peachette is. Peachette it's not Peach dressing like Toadette. It is Toadette in a different form, acquiring Peach attributes. That she can now have the float jump and looks like Peach now, essentially.
I think it makes sense, though. Just because Peach is like the princess of the Toad Island. So, like, to me, that would make sense.
Oh,
like for her to turn into
Mario.
Sorry, I'm the lore master.
No. Mario lore is like so loosely defined, just like LOL. Okay, sure. No, this crown was always a thing here. Yeah, but no, you're right. It's not.
Continue.
It's not too far fetched. You're right. That's fair.
Some people don't know that. So continue.
So what happened next is, if you've played Mario Odyssey, the 3D Mario platformer for Nintendo Switch that came out last October or whenever it came out last year. In that one where Mario can throw the cap, and the cap does all the cool things now. It's like the whole cap tossing mechanic is the core gimmick of the game. Well, if you beat that game, you know eventually Bowser's trying to have a wedding on the moon to marry Peach, because he's a big tryhard, pun intended here. So can't get married on Earth. That's too pleb. They ain't try hard enough. So they have to like. What?
He's trying to have a wedding on the moon.
Oh yeah. It's a whole
come on, dude.
You gotta try hard, man. So they, he's going across all the different lands trying to acquire the perfect wedding ring from this one place here, and the wedding cake for all the guests, and then the perfect dress from Lake Kingdom, and that's Mario's goal is to chase him and stop him. But ultimately, it goes to like 10 different worlds, acquiring all these different components for his wedding on the moon. Now, what's notable here, though, is after Mario beats Bowser, of course, spoilers. At the very end. You have Bowser offering a bouquet of piranha plants. You have Mario offering a turbo turnip as condolences for hey, I came to the moon to save you. Want to be my girlfriend or whatever, right? She denies both of them and's like, no, I'm an independent female. I'm gonna go do my own thing. I'm gonna go explore those 10 worlds that while I was held captive, I'm gonna go explore them on my own now with my friends and do my thing. And then your goal after that is to like, go find Peach, and she'll give you like a little star or a moon for finding her randomly in the spots she's in each world and whatnot. That's like the bonus game mission here. The reason why this is important, though, is because this cutscene of Peach denying Mario and Bowser is depicted in a fan comic that came out about a week ago now, where you have like, they both offer her, the bouquet, flower. She denies it. And then Bowser turns around and is like, yeah, Mario, I have the Super Crown, though. So then Bowser puts on the Super Crown and becomes this beautiful Peach form, still with, trademark Bowser tail, spiky Bowser Koopa shell. Yeah, but it's essentially a sexy Peach, but with Bowser traits and whatnot. And then they together go play doubles in Mario Tennis against Peach and Luigi, who like, oh, who the fuck's that? And in that comic was the birth of Bowsette, and that led to the phenomenon of, oh my god, dude, this allows if the Super Crown works as depicted that the official game trailer for Super Mario Bros. U says, that we can go crazy here with canon fan art of Bowser wearing a Super Crown looking like sexy Peach. and people have gone, and not just people, particularly Japanese artists and on Japanese Twitter went ape shit the weekend this happened. This was like Sunday night going into Monday morning. It was top 10 trending on Twitter. The hashtag that's Princess Bowser in Japanese. It's dude, it was crazy, and it wasn't just like some art. It was like fucking insane, stellar. Lots of high-profile Japanese artists are on this thing here, Western artists as well. But like, I've never seen. The reason why to me it's so exciting here with the whole Bowsette thing is because it's you rarely see a phenomenon that may start with a Western fan art comic panel, cross the language barrier, and then like get this viral. Like, dude, they're like, look at my Twitter. I was retweeting. I'm like, dude, look at this. Look at the.
I was paying real good attention.
Yeah. So there are some who are like, I don't know, man, it's just anime titties everywhere, and I'm like, well, you can look at it like that, but this is like
these are special.
Yeah, this is like, you don't see language barrier, trendy virality go to this extent, kind of really ever, I would say. So I thought that was pretty exciting here. And go ahead.
Is this supposed to be the opposite? Like, I don't want to be like kind of weird, but is it sort of opposite? Where like if Toad gets a crown, it's like a toe, like the you know, like Peach, like that type features. Well, if Bowser gets it, why is it not like the same sort of Bowser like sort of feel, but he has like, you know, like titties and shit, and you know.
Well, it's a mix, right? And so, like, I think it's kind of so you would want Bowsette to be like more thick. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like a huge,
just like a BBW.
Yeah, so that's a good point there.
BBB, Big Beautiful Bowser. Yeah.
Yeah. Why isn't it like, you know, obviously a thick, like brown skin, you know, Koopa looking?
Because Toad remains with his size, like the core Toad remains, but with Bowsette, the whole it's the opposite. The whole core changes and has features of Bowser, which is not like what, you know.
So that's a good point to ask there. Again, look at you have to. This is kind of like a visual medium thing. It's really important. I can tell you about it, but you need to like see it to understand it better, or to understand what's going here. So you look at that again. Throw it in chat. The thing here is that so the debate is Toadette human, because Toadette goes from being, you know, 2 foot nothing to Peach height with Peach traits galore. It barely resembles Toadette. It's Peach with Toadette traits, not the other way around. So for Bowsette, it would be Peach with Bowser traits. Peach's template remains priority. You're adding things to Peach,
it's
not
Kirby.
The other way around. Yeah,
it's Kirby. So it's the same thing. Yeah.
So that would be the thing there. But yeah, now there obviously is a take here though that it's, you know, it's anime titties galore. You got all the rampant porn happening, whatnot, which I think happens with any medium. I mean, like if you're mad about Bowsette, because there's a spectrum. You know, you're having the Bowsette for the exciting culture, the medium, which is the shit I retweeted. Then you have like Bowsette with the porn and all the other shit, which is like, again, could be arguably tastefully done or not, whatever. It's whatever you're going out of it, honestly. But in the same spectrum here, it's like the amount of porn of anything to me indicates the cultural relevance, because it's going to eventually skew that direction regardless. Particularly here, I mean, how much Overwatch porn is there, for example? Like, absolute fuck ton, right? Because Overwatch is popular. So I think people who are mad about the porn of Bowsette, it's like, dude, well, there's porn of fucking everything. It's the internet. What are you mad about, bro?
I mean, the first thing I found when I googled Bowsette was Pornhub Bowsette. So
that's fast.
That one was very fast.
So, and also, not only that too, there's also the Bowsette subreddit, which went from like on day one, really honestly, like probably like hour 5, it had like 6K subs, and then by the end of day 1 had over 30K subs. I don't know what it's at now, but like, yeah, it's gone insane. It's not going anywhere anytime soon, because it's like, you know, you have like this huge. And as Nintendo reveals more about the exact properties of the Super Crown via the game coming out and anything else we're going to add to the Nintendo lore, or Mario lore, I should say, the more you're going to feed into the what you can do with the fan fiction here. Because remember, what's really important here is that it's Bowser wearing the crown to appear like Peach. Peach still exists alongside. It's not Peach being cute looking like Bowser. So there's potential here, and this is where the porn goes crazy, right? Bowser puts on the crown, still wants to fuck Peach, and then you got hot, you know, Gary.
Is Bowsette a trap?
That's the $1 million.
Oh man!
What if Bowser's just a hot dude and just will let his friend fuck?
So, That's it, does Bowsette have a big spiky Koopa cock, or does he not? I mean, that's up to the artist.
It's like one of those like cock rings at the end of it with the spikes on it. Oh yeah.
Real quick, just to jump in real quick, I think Jenna mentioned earlier she had to go a little earlier. She's tired tonight. She hopped in as a favor to me. I appreciate it, Jenna. Thanks for being here. Hearts in chat for Jenna, please. We all love you.
Have a good night. Nice meeting everyone. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
Bye.
Goodbye.
So as soon as you guys are done with the as soon as you guys are done with the topic, I have one topic I want to bring up. It's a pretty loaded topic. Maybe.
Okay. Well, if I'm pretty much done actually. That was the entirety of it there. I don't know if you want to know more. I'm sorry for spamming everyone's Twitter. Yeah. I tried to elaborate on that here. It's a very rare, particularly Japan. Japan is so xenophobic. The fact that this originated from the original depiction of Bowsette.
You're right.
Yeah, from a Western comic artist, and Japan going crazy. You rarely see Japan follow non-Japanese culture or anything ever. So that's that to me was a big deal. Cultural milestone. You were part of history that weekend.
It's very informative and special.
It really is.
Yeah,
definitely. And so I'm glad you all enjoyed that. Train, you already know I have another topic here that's pretty fun to talk about, but that's if you want to get to it, cool. If not, whatever you got.
What is it?
Pass it back to you. What is it? It was the fact. Do I want to spoil it? It's kind of a fun.
Wait for it then. I'll say what I'm going to say.
Wait for it, okay.
Then we'll do yours, and we'll use that to kind of get toward the end of everything. But so my topic, it's a little loaded. I don't want to say it incorrectly and cause the wrong idea, because right now I think people are waiting for anything. I've been driving around a lot, and I've been seeing, obviously, especially in Austin. And other cities in the United States, there's a rise in homeless people, and it's a very sad thing. But I've been seeing a lot of homeless people, and they've had, they've brought on dogs, not just one, multiple dogs, 2 or 3 dogs at a time, and it really makes my heart hurt. And I do feel bad, because I actually love dogs. Believe it or not, if there's one thing I love in the world, it is dogs. It is dogs. It is animals. Even in that game, Until Dawn, I didn't attack one animal. That was the entire time, just out of instinct.
Yeah, you did good.
Out of instinct.
You did really good.
Instinct. I just love animals. I just love them, and it makes my heart hurt. And I don't know. I'm not sure really what angle I want to go in on this. I know it's a very touchy subject.
They're using the dogs for sympathy, and they're putting the dogs in a bad situation in order to garner sympathy and more money, right?
Maybe.
Yes.
That's the debate at face value.
Yes.
Is that okay? Yeah. So do you remember whenever we were downtown and that one dude tried to get money from us to pay for his dog?
Yes, I do.
We were down at 6th Street. So for you guys that didn't see that, we were down at 6th Street. This dude came up to us, and he had this little baby puppy. It was maybe cute. A month old.
Yep.
Yeah, it was a very, very cute puppy.
To buy it from him, to take it from him.
Yeah, we were going to take the puppy, and it just felt so obvious that he was doing it for money, right? And he was just going around to get money for, for whatever he wanted. And he was saying, well, I need to get shots for this dog. I don't know. To me, it's so hard really to know who's being legitimate and who's not. I think the best solution is to try to create situations where those homeless people have something that they can go to and somewhere they can go. And the same with the dogs too. And, that way people don't have to make that individual decision and have to make that judgment call. Is this person worthy of me supporting them? And have to say, do I want to, indirectly keep a dog alive? I mean, it's just really kind of an uncomfortable situation for somebody to be in.
Yeah. XUC or anyone else try? Does anyone have an opinion on this, or is this too scary of a topic?
So wait, so just asking here, you want our opinion on the morality of homeless people adopting pets?
Not
is that what,
I mean,
what was it?
I guess not the. I mean, yeah. I guess. I mean, I don't mind. I mean, yeah. I just. It makes me. It's kind of I don't know. It's so hard to talk about, especially if my current.
It's emotionally manipulative.
It's case by case, but there is always going to be some people who do it that way. But also, there's probably a need when homeless people they're always alone, always doing their own thing and doing their own place. Having a companion is probably good, even though they have to maintain them, and it's probably not fair for the dog. But I see their perspective of not wanting to be alone, and their like sort of struggle, right? And a dog can help with that. But some might take that and use the benefits out of it only for the benefits and not give a fuck about the dogs and its feelings and shit.
That was actually well said. Everything you just said there, I actually completely agree with.
Yeah.
That was actually very well said. Okay, let's move on.
Can you translate that? No. I'm just kidding.
I think it also leads into like another life lesson, not even only for homeless people and their dogs, even just in general. You want to be able to take care of yourself before you can take care of others. So
yeah, that's kind of where I was going with that. But like I said, it sucks. You know, people can act like it, you know, it's not the case, but it is the case. I've got to be very careful with anything and everything. It's you know, earlier I've said that, you know, there's Omegalol farmers, there's, you know, Monka S farmers, there's all kind of farmers on Twitch. But right now I'm in the category of karma farming, karma hate farming. So I got to be careful. Sorry about my.
Did you start that trend of calling people farmers?
The farmers?
Yeah, I think when you got mad at Esfand.
Yeah, when I got mad at Esfand, I started the Omegalol farming meme. Actually, Destiny sent me a picture. He sent me a drawing on Discord. I think someone made it from. It was him. It was a picture of a farmer, and they put his face on it. And he pulled up radishes, and each radish had an Omegalol on it. I was gonna post it, but I decided not to. But yeah, let's move on topics. Trihex, go ahead.
All right, so I got a hot one for you here. Okay. Ooh. So this is one where I have to clarify. I don't know a lot. When I tell you the facts, it's going to be pretty surprising here. But I need to. This is more of an open forum from all of y'all because I'm probably the least knowledgeable of this entire thing, literally out of everyone here. But as of July 2018, Livestream Fails, the subreddit, over the entire site of Reddit, has the 4th highest ratio of downvoted comments, only behind political humor, dank memes, and Ask Trump supporters.
Not the Donald?
Not the Donald, actually, surprisingly, yeah. I was surprised too, honestly. But I mean, the Donald's probably like, you know, hive mind, so it's all positive, no matter how absurd it seems at times. But yeah, Livestream Fails has the 4th highest amount of ratio of downvoted comments in the entirety of Reddit, according to this one thing I read right here. So one thing I wanted to know about was, one, why is that? Is that at face value, I assume it's because of like all the attempted clickbait to make forced drama happen, relevant to the situation where people think that Trainwreck was triggered, that I cut him off at some point last week or whatever. I saw that one thread, I thought was like mega garbage, didn't even bother replying to that shit. It's like 0 out of 10.
Yeah, I wanted to. Yeah. Continue, please continue.
Okay. So yeah, like the speculation here is that is it because of all the clickbait to try to get forced drama, that way you get your thread to get upvoted and get up there and whatnot. So you just throw shit at the wall to see what can stick. You know, this could be drama, so I'm just gonna fucking make a thread about it.
I love you.
You know, just keyboard clacking all fucking day, right? The speculation is that.
I love you.
But I also want to rewind back here too, because I'd love to know actually, what exactly is Livestream Fails? I feel like what it was once upon a time and what it is like known as now Drama Central. I don't know if that's even true. I mean, that's what I interpret as this point.
It is true.
What happened there? When did it go from its core concept to the corrupted thing that it is now? And is all that relevant? Before you go into
your analysis, I'm so sorry. I do want to hear what you have to say, but I just want to. I just really want to give you credit here, Triax. Like, you're actually a god. There are very few. No, there are very few people who would have like came out and said that. That's just like the fact you came out and you saw that. Like, you saw that there was a narrative that was painted and created from me saying, "Hey, asshole," to you. When in reality, we talked about it after stream. You know, you and I know each other. You know how I am with the whole asshole or dickhead thing. It's just how I am. The fact there was a narrative painted and you came out and you kind of talked about how it's a narrative and it's this built thing for drama. Whatever sticks for the drama karma points. I respect you and I love you. Thank you. Asmongold.
Yeah, easy bait, man. 0 out of 10.
Thank you, dude. Thank you.
It's actually funny that you bring that up, because actually I brought brought that up for a few minutes, probably in the first like half hour of the podcast, and I want to talk about that more too. Like, no, it's actually good that you brought it back up. So the reason that I think it is, there's a number of reasons. Number one is that I think that one of the reasons why it's a lot more popular now is that obviously the subreddit is more popular, so people are trying to post more things on the subreddit. And I think that's also related to the fact that people that get posted on there regularly see gains in their stream, right? If your stream is consistently going on Livestream Fail all the time, then that person is going to gain traction for their stream. That's going to create a feedback loop, I think, of causing people who enjoy the stream, or maybe even people that are related to the streamer themselves, posting content about that streamer in order to astroturf a certain amount of hype around that channel. So that's one point about it. And the second point that I want to bring up is the fact that there is so much overlap between people that are very, very politically minded and people that want to inject politics, like identity politics, into different discussions about gaming, and then people that want to talk about just Livestream Fails and just internet drama. So whenever you put those two together, you're going to have both of those different groups kind of downvoting each other and disagreeing and arguing with each other. And you can see this in basically any single thread that's made about a female, right? There's some discussion of why, this girl is great because she doesn't show her boobs. This girl is great because she does show her boobs, and that's always a discussion. People are always talking about that. And I think those two, the fact that the live streaming audience is so diverse with so many different opinions, that's really what it is. Those are the two reasons why I think that there's so many downvotes.
Okay, no, that's very, very fair. Do you happen to know what did it start as? Like, it was meant to, like, okay, the name Livestream Fails is meant for like whenever people like
did something stupid.
Okay.
Actually failed.
Yeah.
Is it okay? So like, okay, I'm not like a frequent Redditor here, but like, is Livestream Fails more poppin' than like the official Twitch subreddit, like r/Twitch?
It's not even a question. So like, it's a matter of like, it's a matter of 10 to thousands.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a huge thing because obviously, like Livestream Fail, it's basically a combination. It's basically, if you want to talk about streamers and live streaming, that is the place that you go. It has the wins, right? Shroud comes and he, kills 6 people in 5 seconds. There's the guy that says something really funny. There's the guy that trips over his cord and falls down. There's the guy that says it. There's some new thing that happened. It's like whenever Ice Poseidon's subreddit got shut down or quarantine today, there was a thread about that. So it's just like a meta area to discuss live streaming. And I think that's really why it became so popular, is because it took on so many different roles.
I really wanted XQC's opinion on this.
What happened to him?
Yeah, what happened?
I believe
I'd love to hear him.
His internet cut out. I believe it's what happens every time. But
he didn't leave because I made a
people
joke.
People just love drama.
No, he didn't leave because he made a joke.
Oh,
his internet cuts in and out all the time.
I was so worried. I was like, oh. Okay.
Can someone explain me a little bit how Reddit works? Because I've never used it.
I'm very new too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I've never.
You're on there sometimes. You know that?
I've seen the page, and I've seen a few clips, yes, but I don't know how it works.
It's basically a thing where, you can vote on something. So like the more upvotes something gets, and like each user can post or and vote a different thread or a different comment up, and the highest voted comments and the highest voted bits of content, like clips and posts, get the highest visibility on the top of the page with some sort of a decay mechanism, so they don't just stay up there forever.
Yeah.
So that's basically how it works.
I think I understand. I actually just had one clip and I didn't understand shit why so many people saw it, and people posted me the link to Reddit, so I'm actually not.
To me, Livestream Fails. I said this to Trainwreckstv earlier. Livestream Fails is like a newspaper for streaming. It's just a newspaper. It changes every week. People's opinions of you can change 100% every week.
Yeah.
It just changes. And it's just always fucking different. It's just today's day of fucking newspapers, man.
It's like it's actually to me it's more like a. To me, it's become what it's become now, which I love. I love Livestream Fails. Like, regardless if I'm the one hated or I'm the one loved, I'm gonna, recite the news or whatever the case, whatever you want to call it, recite or review or whatever it is. I do it. That day I was hated the most, I still did it that day. I didn't mind. So I love the site. I love the community, etc., etc. But to me, it's become a TMZ almost. Like, it's become this thing where they kind of follow around. There's a core few of them that they follow around certain streamers, and they literally just go around and find certain things. They find clips. They find juicy things that in their mind would, farm the karma. Find the juicy,
happens
karma.
to me.
So yeah, it happens to everyone. So it's become like a TMZ almost. Where they're just looking for especially in the personality streamer section. Like when I say personality streamer, I'm referring to like our circle of streamer. So that's what it's kind of become, right? Like what you said is 100% true. One day one week they love you, the next week they hate you, the next week they're okay with you, the next week, it all goes on their emotions, and it's
what's gonna happen, Trainwrecks? A few months from now, a year, let's a vision, right? Close your eyes. Mm-hmm. You're the best, one of the best Black Ops players. You're owning, okay? You're fucking doing great.
Please keep telling me.
Holy shit, you just had a fucking crazy clip.
Holy shit, yes.
It's on Livestream Fails.
Yes.
Check the comments. Isn't this the guy who hates girls? Wait a second. Wait, isn't this the guy who did this before?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Isn't this the dude? It's just like, if every fucking time you'll have something happen, it doesn't matter what you do.
Yeah, no.
Agitator Andes.
Exactly.
That's what it is.
It's how it is, dude. I get it all the time. It's why doesn't this guy play games? He has no content. And I play games. Why does he even bother playing games? Just go back to your fucking reviews. Like, you're shit at games. No one's. It goes back to the happiness. It just agitator Andes. That's what they are.
Yeah. That's what I've always called them, and that's what they're. What they are is like, and like, there's a lot of people on there that just enjoy watching live streams, and it's cool. It's awesome. Like, I'm totally cool with that. And even people that like talking about the drama to an extent, that's okay too, right? It's like funny in a way.
Yes.
But you get these people who like live their lives through streamers, and they just want to kind of instigate interactions between different streamers because they have no friends. They're pathetic losers, and this is all they have in their life. And I'm not even going to mince words with that. That's exactly what it is. They're just pathetic losers. They want to create drama between other people because they have no friends, and the way they act is a pretty good reason why.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, that whole Trihex thing was like all the trade chat clips. I could see where they're coming from, right? I could see what they're trying to get to. I fully see. I take responsibility for that 100%. But the Trihex thing blew so far out of proportion, like it went far. It went far.
Really? I saw one thread.
No, there was 3 clips that they went back and found so many like
God, dude.
Yeah, it was like 3 different clips that went to the top like immediately the next day, and like the trade chat thing I understand, but the length they went to blow up the drama between you and I, that wasn't even there. You and I were DMing and talking about next week's topics. Like, you know what I'm talking about?
They don't know this, but like, we had a conversation, like, for anybody that didn't know, like, I don't want to get too much into last week, right? Because it's just like, why get into it again? But we talked for like an hour after the show, and everybody was cool. Like, I mean, the trade chat thing, like, that was whatever, but like everybody else besides her, like, we sat down and we talked about it. Everybody was on the same page, right? We had like maybe a couple of disagreements, but we're all still friends and everything, right? It's not like, oh, some show is going to make everybody mad. No, I think it's fine. Like, and that's the thing, right? Is that you have these people, and I want to make sure this is very clear. I'm not talking about you guys in chat that just like watching live streams. I'm talking about the people that instead of wanting to consume content, they want to consume other people.
Yes.
That's deep.
Okay. Is Reddit a platform to promote streams? Do streamers use it for that?
Yeah. I think people do that for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't think about it, Canute, but if you want those people, go ahead.
There was
like Livestream Fails is the reason why VR blew up.
The clip that they posted for me, it was not one single negative comment about me, only positive comment. They loved me on Reddit, so yes.
You gotta do one bad thing, Canute, and they're all gonna start hating you.
Yeah, no, like, I love LSF. I do. I love viewing clips. I love looking at it. It's fun. I love my Reddit. My Reddit's just, I mean, it's a love-hate, you know? Like, every time I get up to walk something, they say I'm fucking floating, so I have chicken legs that are non-existent. It's a love-hate. It's a love-hate relationship, you know. Like, I love LSF, I love my Reddit, but yeah, it's one of those things where, if you know, it's actually a reflection. It's literally a reflection of just of humans, of the average, like, of just most human beings, right? It's a reflection. Like, no one can stay in the loved category too long. Like, if there's, you know, if you have one clip every month, you're going to be loved. If you have 10 clips a week, eventually there's going to be this undertone of annoyance, irritation, and eventually you'll get to a hate. And then once it stops because of the hate, a month later, one post comes up and you're loved again. It's just basic human shit. But anyways, continue, Dyrus.
Yeah, no, the same exact thing happened on League of Legends Reddit. Back then it was about, like, you know, there's people with, like, good humor, you know, the good comments get voted to the top. Then it became this, like, karma war. There was a time where League Reddit loved me for, like, a month, and there was, like, a post on me every single day. And then at one point there came this post where it's like, is this League of Legends Reddit or Dyrus's Facebook?
And then it became a hate
wall.
Exactly.
And then yeah. So
that's a great example, actually. That's exactly it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think one real good way to be able to prevent that from happening is to interface directly with people that, you know, might have concerns with what you're doing. And if you make people feel like you're not some sort of, you know, god on Mount Olympus or anything, you're just one of them and you stream, I think the idea of, like, kind of shit talking somebody that's kind of one of them is less appealing. And that's why I've always made an effort to, you know, interact with people and make myself available and try to, you know, see if, like, if someone says, like, yeah, I don't like what you're doing here, I'm like, yeah, I can understand why you feel that way, and I'm trying to do it better in this way, or I disagree with you because of this reason, right? And making them feel like they're actually important and valid, and what they're saying is being heard.
Yes.
I think people respect that a lot.
They do, and I do a very bad job with that. They definitely do. Like, you, the one thing I would give all of you in here, all of you, except for, well, I'm not. Yeah, I guess all of you, realistically. I mean, I haven't seen Canute interact enough with Livestream Fail or with, like, viewers, or like I don't think JCG and Canute are kind of in that, like, area of does that make sense? But, like, Trihex, Poke, and Asmon and Dyrus. Oh, actually, I haven't seen me and Dyrus just became friends, so I haven't really been too close. But so far with Poke and Asmon and Trihex, like, all three of you, from what I've seen so far, you handle yourselves very, very, and I could assume for the other three, you guys all handle yourselves very calmly, and, like, if something is said to you insulting, you still keep a cool mind, you're able to relax and just answer, say whatever. Like, for me, like, I will do that in the beginning, but eventually, if I just, all it takes is just one word that I see that's just, like, for me, it's how I feel that day. You know what I mean? Like, if there was something ticking me off that day, it is hell. Like, I will fucking take that bait and I will be hook, line, and dagger. They'll be fighting. I'll be on the line fighting to the fish, you know, flopping around. So it's tough for me. So I definitely respect you guys for being able to keep that level-headed, the entire time. I just
don't give a fuck, dude. Like, I mean, if somebody says something bad about me, I'm just like, whatever. You know, like, I honestly, it's, at least they're talking about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
True.
Like, because I Google myself for, like, on WoW, and it's like 10 reasons why Asmongold's a degenerate and he should die. And I read them, and, like, the best, I'll sit there with my mom and I'll read them out to her and we'll laugh. It's funny. You know, like, literally, like, she'll be like, yeah. And also, he should die in a car accident. And then, like, I'll tell it to her and she'll laugh. She thinks it's funny. And, like, I'm laughing too because it's funny, because it's just some fucking pissed off neckbeard that's mad. He's probably vibrating in his chair. You put a vital sign on him, like the thing that JCG has on her stream. His heart rate's going up as he's fucking tapping out this post as fast as he can. And he's just so upset and pissed off about it. Yeah. And the fact that I can make that piece of shit's day worse just by existing makes me feel good.
No, I just got a topic that this...
You're You're such a god. I would jerk your cock off right now and I'd catch your cum in my mouth. That's fucking hilarious, dude.
I just remembered something and I want to talk about it. This is
Go ahead.
Sort of goes into it. There's this thing. Okay, there's a video on YouTube. Okay, and it came out like this week. Has like 5 million plus views, and it's called "The Career That Ruined." No, fuck. The mistake that ruined Myth's career.
Wait, whose career?
Did you see this video? Myth. The Fortnite Myth.
Yeah, let's clarify here. Myth being the second highest followed Twitch account on the website, only behind Ninja.
Damn, and his career is ruined.
If I recall correctly.
And it has. It blew my mind. It's like anyone can make a video like that about anyone here or like or a streamer, and it could blow. Oh, I guess not because it's Fortnite's.
Yeah, misinformation spreads faster than the truth.
Actually,
I don't know if that's true or not.
This happened with this. I remember this happened with Dennis. Happened with Cloaksy and Tifu. Is it like they had they were bantering back and forth, and then there's some YouTube video with 1 million views, and you've got all these 12-year-olds picking sides on, oh, I'm Team Cloaksy, oh, I'm Team Tifu. You know, it's just like it's the same shit. Like whenever I ever have that happen to me, I like to actually watch the videos on stream. And I will react to the videos. Yeah, it's funny. It's free content, you know, and I just think it's good overall. Like there have been people that have tried to make exposed videos about me and everything. And the way that I look at it is that if somebody says something bad about me, I never apologize, and I'll say something even worse about me back to them, because I don't even care. I don't care what the fuck they think. Like, I'm playing the game, I'm doing my own thing, I'm my own person, and their opinion doesn't fucking matter.
I'll tell you the bait that I take every time. And I know I shouldn't say this on this. I gotta say it, dude. Since we're all here with the boys, I know it's gonna make things worse. I don't care. Here's the bait that in anything, in real life, on Livestream Fail, on my Reddit, in chat, this is the only bait I ever take. And maybe getting this off my chest will actually do me, maybe I'll stop caring after I get it off my chest. You would think it's actually doing worse because everyone's going to do it now. But maybe it'll make me feel better. The bait... No, like...
This is a dangerous move, but...
Maybe... No, it's a risk because it's bothering me anyway, so what's going to happen? More people do it, doesn't matter. Like... And maybe getting your guys' input on this would be better, okay? So here's the bait that bothers me every time. It's the only bait. Okay? It's the bait where they themselves don't realize that they just don't like you, right? They just don't like you, but they tell themselves. Go ahead, Asmon.
Here's how to discern legitimate criticism from people who don't like you. If they include an insult about your personal appearance in their criticism, they just don't like you.
Oh, no, listen, no, I can discern it, but I'm telling you what baits me. Okay, check this out. It's the people that they don't like me, but they don't know they don't like me. So in their mind, the criticism they give, they don't realize it's coming from actual hate toward me than it is an actual constructive criticism. Because what they do is, and here's the part that baits me, they give an advice of what I should do better, right? And as soon as I do that, what I was doing before, the advice they gave me to do better, is what their next go-to is. Oh, he should just be doing that. Why is he doing this new thing? It's this situation you're put into where you're never winning. You're always switching and swapping, but they themselves don't know what they want, so they give you what they think they want, and then they hate you for it anyways because they realize they didn't want it and they wanted what you were doing in the first place. That's the bait that always destroys me every single time.
So that's two things, and I know this happens with me on my stream too. Yeah. I'll ask people, I'm like, okay, do you guys want to do this? And they're like, yeah, and then I do it and they're like, we hate this. And the truth is that there's just a lot of people that are involved with your stream, with my stream, with any of our streams here, and you're gonna have person A is pogging and person B is resident sleeping, or he just left the stream, right? And so like it's not necessarily like they is some main person or some like hive mind. It's the fact that your audience is comprised of so many different people that want so many different types of content. Like we talked about this last week, right? It's like you have the people that want to watch your content for like cooking streams. You have people that want to see like the IRL. Real talk PubG streams, the IRL streams. They want to see the 6th Street IRL streams. There's like so many forks and so many different things that people can want from your streams. They want speeches. Some people still want to see you play WoW, right? I mean, there's all these other examples. And so it doesn't matter, like anything that you do is going to make a certain amount of people unhappy. And the way that I look at it is that I want to make the most people happy, and I also want to make myself happy. And I think if you do those two things, you're always going to be on the path to success. And in terms of criticism, again, the way that I try to discern between legitimate criticism and shit talking and just pure hate is if somebody is insulting your physical appearance in their criticism of you, I just discard the entire thing. I assume this is the
ad hominem. The ad hominem attack, right?
100%,
basically, and I think the physical appearance part is probably the most like prevalent, right? Is because usually most people that like, if they don't like me and they're criticizing me, they will add some sort of like, oh, I don't like his lifestyle, or I don't like the way he looks, or something like that. And at that point, it's like, no, you don't like me, and you're just finding more reasons to not like me. And like, okay, there it is.
Well, to be honest, the shit talk I don't mind, because I dish shit, I take shit back. That's why I don't censor my chat too often. I enjoy the shit talk. I don't mind at all. Like the ad hominem attacks, I don't mind at all. It's just there are some double standards that are just that go on. But anyways, I definitely agree with you, Asmon. I definitely like what you're saying. It makes me feel better. Tri-X, go ahead.
It's interesting that you'll take the bait, because the thing I approach with streaming is like, particularly when I'm streaming, is that I want to be in control of my emotions, not have my emotions control me. So I look at it like, if I take the bait, like if I'm going to get mad at a comment that's intentions are to get me mad or tilted or baited or upset, then I'm giving into what they want. I'm literally giving
them more of them too.
Yeah, I'm giving into what they want. So I look at it like, nah, this is bait. I'm not even gonna check that, and I move on from there. Like I'd rather be in control the entire time. But I feel like I'm losing control.
But do you actually think that this group of people, they actually know they're just trying to bait you, or do you think they actually believe they're giving you constructive criticism?
Both.
Well, the context of what is quote unquote the bait is a little bit different, I think, from me to you, and really any streamer, honestly.
Interesting.
The thing, I don't really get what you're talking about. The thing that you're talking about, or the criticism, doesn't really happen to me. It's more like what I'll get is like, I hear tryhard's pretty racist everywhere else, quote unquote, supposedly, or I hear the extremes come yell at me on Twitter, yo, your emote is racist, bro, or whatever. And then, but in my chat, it's completely fine, right? But occasionally, some people come in from somewhere else, I don't know, wherever other toxic channel it may be, and they come in, they spam, 0 out of 10, obviously racist stuff, clearly not in my community, because no one in my community does any of that kind of stuff at all. You know that I'm nuanced, articulate, decent person. I'm not whatever you think black people are if you've never been around them before or whatever. So whenever they come out and they start spewing all the obvious racist shit, it's like, you done, bro? You good? Like I don't get mad at them. It's like I can't relate. I'm like, yeah, you're aware you're trying to bait when you didn't even do the homework. You didn't even watch the stream long enough to get the intel on what would actually trigger me. Like you're over 0 out of 10 stuff here.
An example.
Did you enjoy that bite? And it's like, dude, really? That's your best you got right there? Yawn. And I don't even move on, dude.
An example to give you before we move on from this entirely is this happened in the last. I think it happened between podcasts, like somewhere between 4 and 10. I can't remember exactly. I just remember it was between 4 and 10, because before was great, and then after 10 it's now. It was between 4 and 10. So here's what it was, and I believe it was LSF stuff, right? And most of the community backed it. Okay, so it was Trainwreck talks too much as a host. He should sit there quietly and just moderate. No, just wait. He should sit there quietly and moderate. Terrible host. He's there to host, not to talk, right? And then he's there to host, not to talk, right? And then I get quiet the next podcast. What a fucking terrible host, sitting there quietly. Someone else might as well throw it there. And then here's the thing. It's not one.
Gets the same thing.
It's not one. It's not one person. It's a community backing this one person of two contradictory opinions. So it shows that it's not an actual, real thing. There's actually does that make sense? That's what I'm referring
to. They just don't like what you're doing, right? And they can both be true, right? And the thing is that you have these people that, and this is like an issue with like political stuff and like just like the world in general nowadays. People look at everything in black and white. And things are a lot more nuanced than that. There is a point where, the host obviously has to come in and direct the show, while at the same time, the host needs to step back and let the guests talk. And both of those things are true simultaneously. And, the thing is that you're going to, anybody, like even the best hosts, the best shows, they step over that line in one way or another. And that's just the way it goes.
Yep.
I also think a lot of the people who try and give like this criticism and stuff, I think a lot of them, not only do they try to trigger you, but I think a lot of them also think that they can do it better. And that's why they do
that's undeniable. That's undeniable. That's for all of us. That's for all of us. Believe it or not, that's for all of us. Mine, the people for me might just be a little bit more vocal, but believe me, I can promise you all of us have the viewers that, we hear it all the time, right? Like sleep all day. What are they doing? Stream earlier, stream 4 times a day. Recently I take one day off out of 7 days. I take one day off. And recently I got a post on my Reddit. I actually laughed out loud, but the post title, it baited the shit out of me. The post title said, guys, leave Trainwreck alone. He deserves one day. And then the picture was like a coal miner, dirty and tired, working 7 days, saying, I still want to work, no water, no food. I was actually dying laughing. But
the way that I always so people that donate insults to me, I have like a really good way of like dealing with it, is that I will misread it on purpose and then read it as something else that's actually not what they said, and then refute, and then spend a few minutes talking about something that they didn't even say, and then act like I'm smarter than they are because they said this thing bad to me that I misunderstood, and then they have to donate again to re-clarify it.
There you go.
And then I'm like, I get the second donation, I'm like, yo, I actually forgot what this guy said. I'm like, what was he saying, guys? And then I don't even read chat, and I just talk about something else.
That's actually so good.
That's good.
It's funny to me, right?
No, that's S tier. That's
think about how mad this guy is. He's sitting there sending me money, and he's not even getting his messages right. He's not even making me mad. And it's like I'm responding to him. I'm arguing with him, right? But I'm not even responding to what he's saying. It's just like it you can just imagine how upset this person is. And I just love the fact that I can make this person angry by having them give me money.
That's really good.
It's great.
That's hilarious. That is funny. I completely agree with that. Also, for me, it's a little bit more I've been thinking about it, how to avoid certain things. But I realize, since my content is yoinking, and stealing some content and, having some fun reacting, Resident Sleeper, it's harder to, right? Because I'm going directly on the posts and showing them. So it's a little different for me, but that's actually very funny. In World of Warcraft, I used to do that back when I was very, very hated. I used to do that. I used to read comments very differently in chat. Like someone would say, "You fucking big-nosed, ugly ogre." I'd read it as, "Oh, thanks for the comment." "Oh, you pretty boy." You know what I mean? I'd reread it and they'd be pissed. They would keep trying to spam it. It was just very funny.
I mean, I would read it like, "Oh, why is your nose big?" rather than saying that your nose is big, and just slightly altering it so you have something that makes sense to say back to them when that's actually not originally what they said. And that way they feel like it's the halfway mark is so frustrating for a person like that because they're just not ready for it.
That's actually fun.
They're not ready for it. And the way that I look at it is that whenever somebody makes me mad, or somebody I look at what they want and I take that away from them. That's what I do. I figure out what do you want and I take that away from them, and that stops the behavior.
That's
excellent,
true.
Excellent. Well, but if we can bring it back here real quick to conclude the whole thing about the Livestream Fails downvoting. So we explored that it's the fourth highest ratio of downvotes. We've gone over what it started as, what it is now, and what we all interpret as the live streaming newspaper, if you will. So the last thing I wanted to bring about the whole proposal of this topic was what is the ideal scenario? Like, is it even ideal? Like, is the high amount of downvotes like necessary evil for the functionality of Livestream Fails, or is there like is there a solution to where that gets removed? Or is that
I think absolutely, because if you have people, there are certain people, like there are people that I recognize from my stream and they're saying bad things about me on Reddit, and they have the same Twitch name as their Reddit name, and then the last thing that they typed in chat is like, I hate you, I hope that you're going to die, I'm going to kill you tomorrow. And it's like, okay, obviously, or like this person is being obnoxious to me, or they've been kicked out of one of my raids for being shitty, and they're just posting on there because they're mad. And everybody else sees that, and this is like, oh, this is just some guy with an agenda who doesn't like this certain streamer, so they all just downvote them. And I think that's the issue, right, with having all of these different personalities, is that you're going to have people that are super, super into that.
Yep. By the way, thank you for the 100 gifted subs right there. Holy shit!
Yeah, dude, it's popping off.
It's been going for like 10 minutes. Like it's been more than 100 from like everyone. That's been nuts. But yeah, no, I completely agree with you. That negative, that's life though. It's not just LSF. I'm telling you, it's life. Like certain things, they feed off of that drama. They feed off of that negativity. I'm not sure if that's what you were going at, Asmon. I think you're going on something a little different, but.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, like it just, that's what it is. That's just it. Like even if you look at things like politically, if you look at Fox News, you look at CNN, you know, when Trump's in office versus when Obama's in office, these different networks, what they say, you know, like everything, like the news, like what gets the clicks and the views. It's just, it's this this negative, this toxic, this drama that I think human beings just crave as long as they're not involved in it. But as soon as they're involved in it, it's a whole different perspective they hold, right? And it stops. But when it's someone else, to people, I think it's just fun or it's entertaining and it's worth it. I think it's some sort of logic like this. I'm not sure.
Well, actually, earlier Pokelaw's brought up the fact that what was it, drama sells or drama attracts attention on the Livestream Fails, to which obviously is true, right? But at the same time, drama definitely magnates towards attention on YouTube as well. And does that mean that really, like, the psychology here, that just drama inherently is like, I don't know, like, what am I trying to get here? Like, bad news sells better, aka drama, which could be interpreted as bad news, sells well or gets attention or whatever, right?
Oh, fuck yeah, dude. Like, I mean, think about how long they spent. Like, one airplane crashes, or, you know, like gets lost. Remember, what was that one airplane that got lost last year? And they spent like all day, every day talking about it. Of course, bad news sells. Look at, like, if there's a mass shooting, like, people are talking about that nonstop. If something good happens, people don't care. Yeah, I think bad news absolutely is more compelling and more. Yeah, the Malaysian plane. Yeah. It's very, very common.
Yeah. All right, so I get you though. Yeah, it's a necessary evil then.
Yeah.
High amount of downvotes because of the difference of opinions. Bad news and sensational drama is always going to be a thing. It's in the paparazzi, it's in the TMZ, and it's in our own Livestream Fails community. So it is what it is.
Yep.
Cool.
People, yeah. I think it's definitely, people do love to hate. It's definitely a thing, 100%. As far as
I'm curious here why okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No.
Dank memers is like the second highest one. I'm actually, the other ones I understand. Political humor, I get that's divisive, and Astrom supporters, I get that as also a divisive one. But Dank memers is the second highest subreddit with the highest ratio of downvotes.
There's a bunch of dumbass fucking kids posting shit on there thinking they're funny.
Oh, I forgot about kids.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. All right, got him. Say no more. I don't have to even go there. Mystery already solved.
There it is.
Fucking kids, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm not gonna cut you off there. Train. What were you saying?
No, I had nothing more to say. I was just mumbling at that point. I was definitely mumbling. And then for those of you asking about Mighty Mouse, we decided to move him to next week, so Mighty Mouse will be with us next week. It was a Skype Discord thing, and ended up being very weird. And as you know, he has a family, and he has to sleep. He has time constraints, or time. Is it restraints or constraints? What's the word?
Constraints.
Time constraints. Cool. Yeah. So next week my ass will come on. I just wanted to make that clear. But yeah, that was definitely fun. You know, having Richard on was definitely very cool. Like, he was just like, I know it seems very fanboyish, but it's very cool to have someone on that's, you know, a game creator coming in and just hanging out with us and just being cool. I really liked it. Not to mention, it was so like the game. He was exactly like in the game. The way
whenever he finished talking, didn't you imagine like everything fading to black? It was like the next scene. Every time he stopped talking, it felt like I was just waiting for the next scene.
He was this very. He has this like when the last word comes out, it's like this very like.
He smiles and does that thing.
No, like
he smiled at the end of everything.
It's actually it's like there's something, the way there's a sound his mouth makes when he stops talking. It's not an actual sound out loud. It's something you have to like feel, and it's this very peaceful like cloud. It's like when he, you know, like when he ends it, I'm very satisfied with his answer. You know, like I can't explain. It's just this satisfaction from the way he speaks. I can't explain. I know it seems extremely Kappa Pride, but it's I really enjoyed him on. I really did enjoy him on. That was a great experience. I'm very happy I dealt with it. Dyrus, it looks like you're passing out, brother. You tired?
Yeah, it's around my bedtime.
I think it's around all of our bedtimes.
Gotcha. Yeah. Also, Dyrus,
it's only 10 a.m. So.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm gonna cut you off there. Only 10 a.m.
Yeah,
only 10 a.m. We can do a few more hours.
Is there any? Is there one last topic we can end on? Does anyone have one last topic we can end on or go on?
No, I just wanted to tell Dyrus that I think we actually did meet before, by the way. I think we met at I could be wrong here, but we met at the Faku booth at Anime Expo 2 or 3 years ago. Does that ring a bell? Did you ever attend Anime Expo?
Isn't that
Gotta
porn?
go.
That's hentai, right?
All right, let me explain first. Let me explain.
Well, it may not have been that. Honestly, I could be wrong.
We might have met there. Okay, now let me explain why I was there. Okay, it wasn't for what you think it is, but the only way I could get a free pass into Anime Expo was one of the guys that worked there was like, "Hey, dude, I could get you a pass," and I was like, "Oh, sick!" And he's like, "Yeah, just drop by the booth," and then I went there, and also all the TSM guys were there, so that's the story of that.
Yeah, that's where we met briefly. We took I think one of your no, it wasn't you. You were there, but one of the TSM guys wanted a picture with me, if I recall correctly. So that was pretty cool.
All right.
I have a good topic. Marble racing.
Burn
what
it.
did I tell you guys? What?
I'm just kidding.
I told you. Marble racing is the next biggest game. Asmon, you might have to quit playing WoW soon. Pick up marbles on stream.
It'll probably be more complicated than WoW is at this point.
I'm telling you.
Really? Actually, I want to come back to that too, by the way, next week if we can. I want to talk more about WoW because I wanted to hear, because I'm like so out of the loop here that perhaps you're fatigued even ranting about the shortcomings of WoW and whatnot. But you know, whenever JonTron and Soda Poppin were nagging about whenever WoW like banned that nostalgia server a couple years back, that's like the most I know about the meta of WoW at that time. And then you tell me now that it's like it's less complicated than Marble Racing. So now I'm like, what does that mean? There's like
well, I mean, obviously it's like hyperbole, but I do feel like they made the game like really just simple and like, you know, it doesn't really have like the same depth to it that it used to. And I think that is kind of, it's annoying for somebody like me that plays all the time, but I can see like why Blizzard does it. Like, I mean, trust me, I complain about WoW all the time, man. I could never get fatigued about that. It's, I do it a lot.
Further.
Another 100 gifted subs, boys.
Yeah, it's insane, dude. Like Kamzak is popping off.
Kamzak is
that is insane, dude.
Kamzak's dropping bombs, dude. Thank you, brother. Yeah, I actually there's a part of your stream, Asmon, I've really grown to like a lot. It's in the beginning when you go over that video from who's it, Ion, or who makes those videos you watch at the beginning of stream, like talking about World of Warcraft. There's a Preach. I love when you listen to those videos. First of all, I didn't know, but Preach has a fucking beautiful voice. I love the way he talks as well. Like, he just sits there and talks. I want to listen. So, like, I love when you put him on and then, like, you just react to that. I love listening to your reaction to that. That's, like, the most peaceful thing. I turn that on, I listen, and then, like, from there, I'll just lurk.
What about the daily dose of internet voice? Hey, everybody. Hey, guys.
Later.
Are you here?
Sorry, you. To me, it sounds like one of my moderators, plaid socks.
Yeah.
Later. Yeah, it's definitely been a fun time. I appreciate all of you coming on, continuously coming on. It really means a lot to me. I really appreciate you guys. Like the fact,
always have a good time, man.
The fact this has become like a ritual. Like I did not think it would go past 5 or 6 podcasts. We're at podcast 12. And honestly, like, the sky's the limit. Like, we got Richard on this week. Like, all of you keep coming Trihex. Like, the fact you're so enthusiastic about it and you've made it, like, part of your ritual every Thursday, like, I fucking love you for that. And Asmongold, both of you and Asmongold have really just went above and beyond with making this, like, a part of your weekly schedules. And I really appreciate that. And that's huge for me. It's huge for me. It's a huge motivator for me. So Trihex.
I think it's something everybody gets something out of.
Yeah. Trihex, thank you for that. Asmon, thank you for that. Both of you. And then everyone else that comes on.
Fun time said. And Bob, we didn't even talk about, I guess we can reserve next week here, but now that, IRL, I don't know, maybe I missed it here, the IRL is officially dissolved and tagging's officially live, Nintendo directories that are replacing IRL are all officially live. And what does that mean for, now we were talking about speculation when it was announced, debating that then. Now we can debate its execution now that it's
Let's wrap this up with that.
That's a big one. I'd rather do that.
Are you sure? Because there's a lot of time.
It's like 3 a.m. It's 3
a.m. man.
So next we'll I guess it'll give us more time to see how it goes out. Because I actually messaged, believe it or not, I messaged some people about the execution of it, and I got a pretty... I could tell they were a little annoyed at my message, but because what I was saying was, like, when you launch something like this, the only way it's going to work and the only way it's going to you're going to have support behind it is if you launch it correctly with oversight. Do you understand? If you launch it on day one, no one's in the right directory and everyone's doing their own fucking thing, like, it makes people think, like, why the fuck didn't we just keep the IRL section, right? Like, so I messaged about that, and I got this long message back. But, like, it's the oversight. That's what it is. It's the oversight. There's no oversight. There's no control. Why would people, why should people play by the rules? They didn't before when there was with the IRL section and the other sections. So why play by the rules now? And there isn't enough staffing to, go on each channel and make sure they go to the right channel, right? So that's another issue. So there's a lot of issues.
I was actually online when they changed categories.
Yeah.
And the way they did it, they started throwing out the top of the category, and then they shut it down after, I think, like half an hour later.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's how they did it.
Yeah. But anyways, Trihex, dude, once again, man, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Thank you, dude. Real quick, guys, I'm going to be doing the Super Seducer giveaway. 10 of you will go with Super Seducer tonight. For those of you that leave, it's okay. For those of you that stay, you have a chance. It's going to be to followers and subscribers. Trihex, I appreciate you being here, man. And thanks for being so enthusiastic and, just consistent coming on. It does help. Like, you don't know how much it does help. Like, it helps make it official. Like, when there's, like, a certain amount of people that come on, it makes it, there's an officiality behind it, or officialness, or whatever the word is.
You gotta have the squad, man.
Exactly.
No, I'll tell you before I enjoy it. It's therapeutic. I'm very new to discussing things in stream. I'm so used to just talking with chat, which is reacting to chat, not discussing something with somebody else. So yeah, this is all very new to me, very fresh, and very therapeutic and revigorating.
Yeah,
so
I appreciate it.
I would. And I can be here. I'll be here. I have never tried VR chat. Do I have VR? I have a PSVR, which is not. I don't have a Vive though, unfortunately. But baby, I got the Twitch money. I can definitely get a Vive if I need to.
It's an experience for everyone that you should definitely experience once.
Who would I do it with though? That's the thing. Like if I get like
me and Dyrus, you like, we'll show you some weeb shit. I'm not a weeb, but you'll like it. Yeah.
So if I get a Vive, we're doing VR chat. I go in totally blind. Y'all show me the way.
We'll give you a great day.
Yeah,
I didn't plan that one. Actually came out. I had to claim it. Sorry, it was accidental.
Yeah. Actually,
it's fine.
Real quick, what's the best way to? Because I'm thinking about to make it a little easier, because I always have a tough time reaching out to people via Twitch, and I've actually turned my whispers off because every time I share a screen and go to Livestream Fails,
whispers are garbage.
Yeah, I get like 1,000 whispers and they pop up and someone makes a name that has the N-word in it, and I'm just fucked.
I've never had whispers be not 99 plus. It's always 99 plus.
So I turned them off recently. So what's the best way to go about doing a Twitter giveaway for the Super Seducer stuff? Like, I think that's better. Is there a site I can go on and do a quick like?
Yeah.
You know what's a good tool? Marbles.
Gleam.io is really lit.
Yeah, it's Gleam.io.
Marbles has a great giveaway tool. You know.
Could you link it to me on Discord real quick? Because I want to make that now and present it on Twitch so people in here can go see it. I don't want it to be something I do tomorrow.
It would take probably about 5 minutes to make one. Just FYI here. Link it where in the Discord?
Link in the Discord. It'll take me 5 minutes to make it.
You gotta fill some stuff here. I mean, it's not like, like 3 clicks and then you're done. You have to like make the account and then like create the platform and then title your giveaway, and then how can people enter the giveaway? Are they using, do you have to subscribe to YouTube? Do they have to follow you on Twitter? Or do they have to retweet a link? You have to like make it. It'll take you about 5 minutes to make it because it's
how
so
badly they want to play marbles for it. Oh my god.
Wait, they say marbles? Play marbles for it?
Marbles for giveaways actually work. And you can make it sub-only mode, right? Is that what you're trying to do?
No. Everybody. I want it for everybody. I was gonna do like I want it for everybody.
Never mind.
Alternatively, if you want, you can use Nightbot's like giveaway feature. Just like make a keyword, and everyone who's in chat like type the keyword within like X amount of time.
I always do that, but the problem with that is it's very tough to get to the people because I have to find out who their Twitch account.
Fuck that, dude. You tell motherfuckers like
I have
whispers on.
I have, dude.
When you win, if you don't reply in 30 seconds, fuck you. I'm redrawing, dude, and you commit to that shit. You redraw.
Not me, dude. Not for me. People are looking for.
You don't redraw.
No, I did that, dude. I did that for a while, and I tried doing it for the PubG thing, where I'm like, follow me on Twitter, do this, like, and then like 4 weeks later, they haven't done it, and they, make some donation, like, oh, I didn't get this.
Listen to Asmon, dude. Fuck them. Fuck you, bro, dude. I used to be this. I used to like, oh my god, did you DM me? I'm digging across Discord and Twitter. Dude, I used to lose like an hour of stream time.
I love you guys.
I told people like I would do these mount giveaways, and if they were too slow to get to the instance, I just kick them out and get somebody else. Man, that guy just lost.
I love you guys.
Dude.
We got time for that.
Okay, well, if that's the case, wait, hold on.
Dude, they ain't pay attention. Fuck them, man. I can tell you how often I would mail prizes off to people, whether it be like I don't know, like an anime charm or whatever. And these fuckers wouldn't even give me their address. They would win, and I'd be like, cool, I need your mailing address. Would never get it, but then I get a reply like 3 weeks later. Hey, why you get my shit? Well, yeah, no fucking. Look, dude, I almost said fucked her. No fucking shit, dumbass. You fucking didn't give me the goddamn address, you stupid bitch. Dude, read. God, dude. I'm sorry, I had to pop off there. I've had that happen like 2 times a count, honestly.
It's true. It happens.
Oh, well, Asmongold's pretty tired here. Asmon, thanks for being here, brother. I love you, Asmon.
I had a great time. Thanks for having me.
Guys, please follow twitch.tv. Says Asmongold. He's an amazing friend, amazing friend. He's there for me no matter what. I love him. He has a busy day today. I love him. Thank you, Asmon.
Yep, for sure. Thanks for having me on. I had a great time.
No problem, man. Dyrus, thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Always shout out to Dyrus. Dyrus is going to be one of the Call of Duty members. He's going to be on the team. It's going to be DSG Dyrus. I don't know if you guys know my pro team, Poke and Dyrus. DSG Dogshit Gaming.
What? Why'd you call it that?
We have jerseys and everything, so be ready. We're going pro.
You have to wear it. Sorry.
Yep. Trihex, thank you, brother. I really appreciate it. Hold on, give me 1 second.
On the wrap up here, Poca, I will take your offer, fam. I will get a vibe, and I will hit you up, yo. I'm ready.
I promise you'll have fun.
Dude, me and you, at least me and you, Dyrus, if you're around, cool. I'd be flattered. But someone show me the way, man. I'm ready to learn what VR hell's all about, bro. I'm ready.
I'll figure out a whole session for you, a whole day.
Oh, dude, let's fucking go, son. Like real shit.
Mm-hmm.
It will be fun or interesting, one or the other, no matter what.
Cool. I don't know what to expect.
I'll get you an avatar made soon. I'll give you a try hard avatar.
Would I want people to know it's me? Like with the try avatar?
You can be whatever you want. So just say what you want, and then.
Like literally anything. You could be anything.
You could be Bowsette.
I see Bowsette's already this week.
Yeah.
It's like high quality.
You could be anything.
You can be anything, yeah. I mean, think about that alone.
Dude,
what are the social...
This is the meta right now for VR chat. People literally just sit in front of a mirror in the game and just stare at themselves. It's actually what they do.
Asmongold has that face on where like that meme happens where like he does something and it's like this is the moment when you realize you fucked up.
Oh, the record scratch?
So I guess you were wondering how I got here.
Yeah, something like that. Exactly. Something exactly like that. That's actually hilarious. So anyways, Poke, I love you, dude. You're actually my best friend, dude. I love you. I know that's cringy. I love you, dude. You're my boy, dude.
Love you too, man.
You're my boy, dude. You're my boy.
Reddit's trying to tear us apart right now.
Reddit's trying to tear us apart. Don't worry, dude. It won't happen, dude. Asmon's my longest Twitch friend I've had, dude. He's my longest Twitch friend I've had. He's actually, holy shit, dude. How long has it been with us, dude? Like 4 years now? 3 years?
Something like that, man. It's been so long. Yeah, I remember ever since like the old WoW days. Yeah, back whenever I was still mostly on YouTube. It's actually crazy.
That is crazy, dude. Anyways, yeah. JCG, I appreciate your time here, guys. Make sure to follow JCG on Twitch. What's your Twitch, JCG?
JCG, JAYCGEE. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you.
No problem.
Why is your Twitter Pimp Nasty Gangsta? Like, what is
That's my IGN. That's just my name for everything. I don't know. I didn't want people to know I was a girl for a really long time, and then I came to streaming, and I just kept it.
Cause like I was like, cause I searched, I was like, who is JCG? I'll just figure out who this is on Twitter. I'll follow her. And then I'm like, Pimp Nasty Gangsta. I'm like, whoa, who is this guy? Yeah.
It's me. Yeah, and I just kept it because I love it, and no one can take that from me. That's mine. So I
guess not.
Dyrus, thank you, brother. I love you, man. Canute, Twitch.tv says Canute. I love you, Canute. Any last words?
Actually not. Hi, Pyro. I think Andy Pyro is gifting some subs. That's my last words.
What a nice guy.
Yo, Pyro. Yo, Andy. Thanks to 10 gifted subs, brother. Appreciate that, man. I'm guessing I'll be seeing you at TwitchCon. Thank you, Andy. I appreciate that, man. Trying to see how this works. I think my Terrabuck, my stream elements, dude. The man, the legend. I don't know if you guys use stream elements. He made a code that's like a thing. All you do is log into your Twitch and you get it. 10 copies will be given away. Yeah. I'll just use.
Is anyone streaming after this? What are you guys doing?
I'm going to sleep.
Yeah, Asmon's going to bed. Anyways, thank you guys. JCG, thank you. Trihex, Twitch.tv says Trihex. Twitch.tv says Poke Lols. Twitch.tv says Dyrus. Twitch.tv says Asmongold. Twitch.tv says Canute. Make sure to follow them, guys. I love you guys. Thank you so much for your support. You're all fucking gods. Thank you, guys. I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you.